That's good. See I've never seen him sit there. Yeah, he's always worried to stand up, get on a soapbox. I've got 1 minute.
Yes.
Oh.
Are you on English time?
You're welcome to eat
Say here.
it.
This is 59.
It's 8:59.
Well, there you go. It's been that way for a minute.
It's 9 o'clock.
Good morning. I'm Bill Kanda, Board Chairman of Custer County Board of Commissioners. Today is Thursday, April the 17th, 2025. I'll call this meeting to order. Please silence your phones. I better do the same. Just set the example. My phone is silenced. Okay, please stand. Let's have the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Please bow your heads for the prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather here today to conduct the business of our wonderful county. We ask you to watch over us, help us make the managerial decisions that are needed to be made today. And we ask for your guidance and blessings, not only for today, but for every day. We do this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call. Peggy.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner F,
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong,
Here.
County Attorney Dan Slater,
Here.
BOCC Admin Caitlin Linda. Here. And Deputy Clerk to the Board, Vicki Miller.
Thank you, Peggy. Audience introductions. Let's start in the back row with Jim. Jim, who are you? And
Jim Shackman, just a Custer County citizen.
Nikita Phillips, Deputy Coroner.
Brad Balsley, County Coroner.
Rich Smith, Sheriff.
okay, in the very back.
John Mapes, Custer County IT. Robert Smith, Custer County Human Resources.
Catching up on them, you okay? Debbie.
Deb Adams, Custer County Tourism.
John Van Dorn, many things.
Trouble mainly.
Trouble.
Yeah, so
Kathy Griffin, another Custer County citizen.
James Gilbert.
Nothing much.
come on.
You can do better. That's good. Okay, thank you. And there, how many are online? Anybody?
4. We got Joni Lehman, Custer County Landfill, Debbie Van Doren, and Rob Klein.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. And please remember, if you have a question when it's time to comment, raise your hand. I'll recognize you. Say, state your name, even if you ask again. And we'll try not to repeat the questions. All right. With that, approval of before that, what's the amended agenda? We've got commissioner items too, but so amended agenda, any amendments?
The accounting written report will be part of the finance report. We just wrap them up into one report.
Okay, and today we don't have our treasurer here, so we've got the written report.
Yep, that'll be written as well.
Okay, any other? Okay, now let's approve the minutes for April the 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of April 10th, 2025.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. I didn't see anything. Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes for April the 10th? Lucas?
Aye.
Vogelsong, aye.
And aye. And I'll sign those on a breaker later. Okay, commissioner items. Paul?
Yes, sir. I know we've had quite a few meetings and everything, and probably read most of it or heard about most of it and everything with the sludge and everything, so we'll go into that and things, but other than that, nothing new to report.
Okay. Lucas?
Zoomed in on the Central Front Range Regional Transportation meeting today. There was past Denver congressional directed spending out of the general fund into programs to help with city streets, sidewalk projects, other regional transportation projects. The state is, since they're $1 billion plus over budget, they're clawing that money back. And the tune of at least $140 million over the next 3 years is coming out of that. So our sidewalk project, we'll see whether they decide to fund that or not. But in all the grants, money that we get, there's always the little fine print that says if they decide not to pay the money out, the money doesn't get paid out. So we'll see what happens. The extra $50,000 that we applied for, that's all up in the air now. But the original project still may be up in the air. So I don't know if we want to go forward with that project because it's about $150,000 construction costs. But as we get further and further along, I'll get more and more information and see what that likelihood is. I think they're gonna attack the bigger projects first. So since our amount is smaller, ours hopefully will go through, but I think some of the bigger Cripple Creek sidewalk projects and stuff like that, they're gonna get hit hard. So we'll see what happens there. And then the Region 15 governing opiate board, that was settlement money out of the pharmaceutical companies. We've got 16 years of funding that goes out for, and that's about 400 and some thousand for 4 counties. Our portion's roughly around 100,000. It kind of goes ups and downs depending on what we want to do for the region. So that doesn't have the fine print there, but who knows what's going to happen. So, but we got about $100,000 to spend there. It's mainly for mental health initiatives and the prevention and helping people get off opiates. So we'll see what happens there. That'll help backfill public health a little bit as we see what happens with that money. So those are the 2 things that I kind of got.
I'll tag on to the sidewalk project. I got an email and then I got this letter today. It says, Colorado Department of Transportation, CDOT, ending of fiscal year 2025 invoice and cost estimate deadlines. So they say vendor, meaning us. In order to meet deadlines established by the State Comptroller's Office, please submit all invoices for all projects completed on CDOT projects through May 31st, 2025. The appropriate CDOT project manager by June 12th, 2025. So they're collecting those and their estimates that they've got to have. It's clearly must be market estimate.
Okay.
So I'll give you this letter. I asked if it had been sent to you guys.
Okay. And I'll talk to Matt Pettit about that, CDOT.
Because I think it's going to go through because it is small, but because it's been on the docket for 3 years.
Yeah.
So I think they've got the money to do it. All right, and then we've got a lot of turnout. Paul mentioned it on the sludge problem, and a lot of interest and a lot of good people with a lot of good ideas. And because of that, we've got a successful program to finish now. And we're raising money. Everybody recognized, everybody has a dog in this fight, so to speak, because it's a county-wide problem, and that's why we decided to donate county money from the county point of view to get it started and possibly get it back. There's a big fund being raised today. We were at the town hall meeting on Thursday, and they had elected to and voted to provide $10,000 more out of it. And as we walked out of the room, the citizen gave us $2,000. And so Bob Sinderoff is setting up 2 bank accounts, one in each bank, to donate to this need. And anything over the amount to reimburse, they're trying to get back the money that Round Mountain has that they took more of a risk with, so they can make sure that that project will be completed. And as well as the county, because we took some of our money that's great for grading roads, and who knows what the whistle blowing in our windows today is causing a new storm to come in, and we may need more graders. So that's good news. We have citizens that care about the county. That's the big point I wanted to make. And then Silver Cliff and school are on our docket to do the traveling road show with Dave Snyder. And I think that's all I need to say for now. We'll go through our agenda, so we'll continue. Yeah. Okay, attorney items.
Not much. I've been, this past month's been pretty busy in terms of county work. I will say that our efforts with planning and zoning are paying off. Settled 2 more cases that have gone to lawsuits in the past couple of weeks with property owners. Got those issues resolved. So sometimes you just gotta serve a summons or a subpoena summons complaint for people who pay attention to
Right.
what they have to do with it.
Okay, that reminds me too, sanitarian issues. Public health is the sanitarian responsibility for the county to make sure people comply with things like you mentioned. John Mapes was been up there for the last, how long, John? 2 days? Fixing public health computers. So if we've had problems with getting a hold of people, John's doing the yeoman's work straightening up all the software and hardware problems up there. I think Lucas is gonna shut the straight maybe that. At least we can see that. So thanks for bringing up that.
Can I tag on to that?
Go ahead.
So Dan's also been working with us with, because we've been sending him a lot of stuff, policies, helping us get those in line with the Colorado revised statutes. The biggest one has been our records retention policy that we have needed for a long time. I also got him started on this fire resiliency board and what the counties each are gonna have to do. So the state, this got passed in 23, and so the state's supposed to set up a fire resiliency board. It's supposed to be made up of members representing different parts of the state, and they're supposed to come up with codes. They're a little behind on the work that they're supposed to do, but within 3 months of adopting codes, July 1st of this year, each county is supposed to have their plan together. And most of Custer is all part of this fire resiliency code thing makeup. Now, Mark Baisley in the Senate has got a bill to push this timeline out because nobody's ready for it. It's not been really on anybody's radar. We're finding out that a lot of counties are they're behind the 8 ball. How's it gonna affect how does it change their planning and zoning or building codes? But this would be from what I understand, for any new home that would go in Custer County to be built to these fire resiliency codes. So it would change our planning and zoning department. So to a certain degree, I'm hoping this gets pushed out a little bit because we are just not prepared for this. Other counties aren't prepared for it, and the state's not prepared for it. So I'm from talking to Mark Baisley a little bit on Tuesday, I believe it was, he's expecting it to get pushed out and passed, but we'll see what happens. So Dan's been helping us with that, trying to go through all that language and realize what's going on. It's just a little bit above my understanding, so thank you, Dan, for helping us there.
And I think the key problem is that we have 3 months after they enact the model code for us to do something. And the problem is we really can't do a whole lot until they enact, this committee or commission enacts the model code. We can't do anything until that happens, and so then we have 3 months to hurry up and get something done. And for a county that doesn't have the building code, this is going to be a building code, and that's a pretty big change for the county planning and zoning to consider. And to do that in 3 months is awfully problematic.
They've had a year and a half, and we'll have 3 months. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens, so.
Okay, let me talk to that too, just real quick. As you mentioned, we do not have building codes in the county, we're not, we've been firm on that. You could build a bale house if you wanted to. This will stop that, which is, and the reason it's probably a good thing, you know, your theory was, if you're that dumb, if you wanna have a more fire hazard, if that, I'm not saying it's dumb, but it's your problem if it burns down. However, it became all of our problem because the insurance rates went up for everybody. Just like they did in California, when, they have a lot of fires. So there's a lot of simple things like putting fire breaks in the wall and studs. Most people that build a house today would do that, normal. This is just ensuring that, plus there's some extras. I don't know whether they're gonna go, we don't know this yet, whether tin roofs are gonna be required, could be, or fire retardant asphalt shingles that are somehow treated in more expensive than they are today, I don't know. There is such a thing. As a matter of fact, there's sawmills taking firewood into buildings to make pretty decorations with, but they have to be fireproof. How do you fireproof firewood? But there's a way you can retard it. Anyway, something that and like you said, it's gonna take a little bit of time for everybody to adjust. The current houses that are going up are gonna be grandfathered, and the current houses that are already built are gonna be what they are. Okay, anything else? Okay, Kate.
I'm gonna do this week.
Okay. Elected official reports are up next. Are we ready?
Yes, sure.
Come on up, Rich. And sit there and you just talk loud and kind of project out that way would be great. Thanks.
This is Tuesday.
So, oh, you said face to the camera.
Yeah, kind of good, so they can hear you.
Yeah.
You can be sideways.
So, I bring 2 issues to you guys for decisions, and one is the sale of 2 Dodge Durango police vehicles that we have. And when we did our research, we came up with a figure that they were worth $20,000, and we hope to get that through an online govdeals.com, some kind of auction site. However, the town of Walsenburg is standing up their own police department, and they are desperately in need of police vehicles. And so they came to us and said they would be willing to pay $26,000 per vehicle. And what they would like to do is take immediate delivery and then make the first payment of $26,000 the 1st of December this year, and the second payment of $26,000 the 1st of December next year, which
Okay, now stop right
coincides.
there and say that loud again. If you look down on the agenda, he's up again, and this is to consider.
Oh, am I in the wrong spot?
No, you can mention it here in your report.
Okay.
The sheriff vehicle sale proposal. So he's got a proposal for what he'll do. He just proposed making some money on it because they're willing to pay more, but there's more to the story that you can talk to then.
So keep on going?
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize for that. So then that would require some kind of a contract that was agreeable to our county attorney and their city attorney, but they are motivated and they're struggling to get people hired and equipment and whatnot to do their police office. And then back to the sheriff's report, I apologize, I got out of line.
No, you're not out of line.
I did get a new book from the County Sheriffs of Colorado that's pretty thick, and it's the new jail standards that all the sheriffs will be required to comply with. It was written primarily by prisoners and defense attorneys with very limited input by the sheriffs that run the jail.
Did the prisoners vote for bars?
Well, no, they've made a lot of sweeping changes which will increase our cost to house prisoners. And then I did have one other proposal about the video cameras. Can I bring that up now too?
Yeah.
So we're the beneficiary of a grant from the state of Colorado called the Court Security Grant, and that's based on 4 criteria, and we actually max out all 4 of the criteria, so our grant application has a high priority. The grant that they awarded us for this year ends June 30th, and it includes $22,000 for closed circuit TV cameras or upgrades or changes, and $3,000 for locks. Well, the county had already replaced the locks, so they approved in writing to move $3,000 lock budget to $22,000 in cameras. And so Vernon Roth wrote up a sample request for proposal and I believe you guys may have a rough draft of that. And we would be seeking input from vendors on how they would propose to use the money. The trick of it is that it would have to be spent by June 30th to comply with their grant requirements. We did apply for a new grant, which would start the state fiscal year July 1st and go around, and the primary thing that they're funding is the salary of the court security officer. We increased the amount that we asked for in accordance with your wishes to include the entire benefits package and not just the hourly pay, so the number was higher for that.
So the total number is what, 122 or whatever?
Yes, somewhere in that,
Good.
that range,
So
with
that
90,000.
stands a good chance of, well,
Very
has to be
good.
because it's required to have a court security.
And then again, we have the highest rating that they give for financial needs.
Okay, good. Any other things?
No, thank you very much.
Ticket business, okay?
Ticket business, all right.
I might mention that.
I am trying to cut down on our administrative costs. And last year, we wrote $20-some thousand in tickets, and it cost us $30,000 to write it, primarily with our bill going to the 911 center. It cost us $25 per traffic stop to run the driver's name and address and whatnot.
To get it registered, who it is, right? Find out.
Right. And so I went to the town of Westcliff and Silvercliff, and on parking tickets, there's a vendor that will give us a handheld computer, and you take a picture of the license plate of the car that's parked in a handicap zone. You take a picture of the sign or the striping on the road, and then the machine prints out the ticket, and it does the lookup, fills in the blanks. You just say what the violation is, and then the money remitted actually goes to the vendor in Denver, who also handles complaints. And the monthly fee for using that somewhere in the neighborhood of $300. And so after the $300 is paid, then the vendor would send the ticket money to the appropriate jurisdiction. So it let us write tickets cheaper.
And you're planning on offsetting what with the extra money?
Well, I'm just trying to cut
Back
my
to the
budget
town, right.
that I
You're
spend
not-
with Freecom. So again, and the sheriff's office doesn't get any money from the taxes, it just goes to the two towns.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Any questions for him?
Another question. So the cameras are out now, right?
Yeah, we're not following up with this week.
Well, so there's not a camera in Wetmore?
There's not a speed, we don't have any speed cameras. And so there's two options with that system. And the vendor's name was Emergent Traffic Solutions. I apologize if I got that slightly wrong, Emergent something. And so they proposed that we buy a $30,000 portable camera to set up on the highway, or to use handheld lasers that had a video camera in it. And so we chose not to buy their camera thing for the highway and not to use the handheld lasers. We did buy lasers that don't have the camera hooked up, and so they work the same way as the radar, but the main problem, I'm sorry if I'm getting too far out of
Go
bounds,
ahead, go ahead.
but like on Main Street, we get complaints about speeding, and so to clock them with the radar, you literally have to park the police car smack dab in the middle of the road, and it shoots the radar beam down, so now we're causing more of a hazard. Whereas the laser, you can sit in a parked car and then it just shines out the window and tells you the speed. So we do have that, but we're not using any kind of automated enforcement. We haven't purchased.
Okay, so there's nothing on 69 or 96?
For speed enforcement.
Okay.
Right now, and then it was too costly to do the other thing. And then we decided the best thing to invest is like the signs you see in front of the school and on the side there that says, hey, you're going 35 instead
Well,
of 30.
the board did ask me to research getting a portable sign that says like speed limit is X and your speed is Y. And so we actually were able to get 2 of those from the Army for free from their military surplus. However, neither one is in 100% working order. So we're hoping that.
That's why, get a hold of John Mapes.
Yeah, but John has done a heck of a job for us, but we're hoping to combine the parts from the 2 signs and we'll have one sign that we could set up.
Right, and that's a good way to go, and you can put it up by road construction areas, you can put it anywhere where people seem to speed all the time, slow them down for a while, put a deputy. It's
But it
cheaper than
doesn't
putting a
issue
deputy
speeding tickets, it's just
Yeah,
visual.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
anything else? Okay, well, Jim's got one.
Jim Chaplin. I just want to comment that, you always hear a lot of comments about sheriff's department, stuff like that, throughout the county and such, and I hear nothing but good stuff. People are happy with the job that you're doing, the fact that you're our sheriff.
Okay, thanks for the comment. Thank you, Rich.
You bet.
Okay, next out of the chute is Bob.
Oh,
Wait a minute,
where are you going?
where am I keep looking down, I had a mark. Sorry, it's the treasurer's report. I looked past it because I have a mark on the staff reports. Okay. What'd you see, you wanna talk first?
So treasurer's report, this is from the, February 1st to February 28th, 25. And this includes all the money that she intakes and then parts out to all the special tax districts. So her balance is here. I just want people to realize, because sometimes they look at our ending balance of 11,913,000. That's money, that's property tax money and fees collected for all the taxing districts. That does not mean that the finances that the county has under the finance department are gonna match that. They're gonna be less than that because we only take the portions of the property tax and fees that are the county's. The rest of them, school passes through, library district passes through, and I think there's been some confusion on that. So I would just want to address that a little bit, that what she shows is gonna be different than what the finance shows.
There are 11 districts that add up to the 11 million, so.
So other than that, I don't really have anything to add. The balance at the beginning of the month was $9,581,166, and the balance at the end of the month was $11,913,690.
Also, I want to end it's a good point too, is in the rumors, people think that some of these balances are running in the red. We don't run in the red ever. We've got it straightened out where our cash flow is matching the expenditures pretty closely. So each month, we're looking good, most of the time. And we're not allowed, to say it again, to run in the red. We can't spend more money than we got. Okay. Anything else? Got a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the treasurer's report from 2/1/25 to 2/8/25.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved to accept the treasurer's report for February 1st through February 28th for the bottom line total of $11,913,690.21. Any discussion here? None.
Not for me.
No other questions? All in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Focus on mine.
And aye. Now it's the coroner's job. Come on up, Brad.
Gentlemen, morning.
Thanks for being here.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. Better get your bibbies on for this weekend.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I got firewood. I'm staying home.
Yeah.
Is it fireproof?
Yeah, I did. I don't know how you get it warm though.
I don't know how you do this.
I'll tell you, I know some.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, you guys got proposals I sent, I guess, taking bids, looking at possibly doing a cooling system for refrigeration for storage for the coroner's office. And kind of our project for this year. I've got a couple proposals here that we got bids on for a walk-in cooler system. And but I think I've done some more research and I've talked to some other counties, and what they've done to be a little more cost effective is set a shipping container, spray foam it with insulation, and then put a cooling unit in it. And that's working out really good. I toured the one in Trinidad, Colorado, and that's what they've set up.
40 footer or
20.
20?
20 would be adequate for us. And I think I could use it for storage for supplies as well. And I wouldn't have to have it on full time. It would be something we could use as we need it. But
External generator on it then?
what we're looking at doing is the sheriff's offered me a spot in his bullpen, so we could set it behind the sheriff's office. And then I personally offered to donate the ditch and the backfill for the power to it. And then we'd have to have an electrician supply power, but I would personally donate the the ditch and the backfill to run power. The sheriff would like to power supply his container where the dive team is, and the outbuilding in the back has no power to it. So we would swing by those, you'd be on the course to power all three of those buildings then. And so mine would just be one of those, but two of them would be his. And so we could kill 3 birds with 1 stone there and power that, and it would run, we could run it on 110 or 220. It's not a 3-phase kind of setup.
Put a transfer switch on it for a generator?
Possibly could do that, yes.
Probably should.
Mhm.
It would be just an AB switch, correct?
Yeah, yeah, we could do a transfer switch so we could run power to
Another
a generator if necessary.
$1,500.
And then, so my reason for doing that is, you know, Custer County does not have any cooling for any kind of storage, for any kind of disaster or death. We wait hours to get a funeral home up here, to get a body. And then should we have, in next month or in June, I am subpoenaed to be testifying at the homicide trial for 15 days. And in that example, should we have a homicide or a crime on Friday, El Paso County cannot take a body, they're not open on the weekend, so I can't, and that body's considered evidence. I can't deliver that body to the El Paso coroner, to my forensic pathologist, until Monday morning at 9 a.m. So I have nowhere to keep them in between and maintain my chain of custody. If I send them to the funeral home, they're out of my control, and I don't have control over who has access to that body or evidence. So if we had our own cooling facility, and, you know, minimally cost, we can keep them here, maintain our chain of custody, keep them in my care until the forensic pathologist can take it. So it could be real important. And then I'd like to add too, that I've never asked these guys, any of the projects I've done for the coroner's office, to bring us up to date. I've never asked for any extra money. I've always been able to do it, come in under budget, and do it within the budget that we have set for the coroner's office. So I'm not asking for any money from these guys. I like to run everything by them and get their approval to move forward with some of these projects, but it should fit into my budget and never cost the county any extra. So,
Perfect.
so those bids came in $12,000, $13,000 for a 10 by 10 walk-in cooler. And I don't have all the numbers yet, but I'm thinking for half that, I can do a 20-foot shipping container and have it refrigerated, powered and everything. And then we'll have a facility where we can
use it for other things.
We can use it for other things if necessary.
Especially if you double-ended it and put a wall halfway down the middle,
Mm-hmm.
cool one side.
We could,
That's what's better,
Storage the other side.
but storage does.
right. And what I store with body bags and supplies doesn't hurt if it's cold. But I wouldn't, I'd only use it, I'd only flip the thing on when I need it.
1/2.
Yeah, we could do half of it. And there are 10-foot shipping containers too available, but they want as much money for those as they do at 20.
Too small, 10 foot's not.
There's not much room. And I've got the cots to put in there that we can, you know, have for, if, you know, for storage, and if we have a mass disaster of some sort, we'll be a little better prepared.
I have 2 questions. One, it's just a regular tractor trailer type square box, correct, with a cooler?
What, yeah, you know what, I looked into that, Paul, where like a van trailer for like a produce delivery, that's a possibility. We'd have to put a diesel tank out there to run those. Those have their own motor and have a diesel supply. So that would kind of be maybe a little trickier than.
And you can't control this easily.
Right, and then the ones I've seen that are in the $10,000 to $12,000 range have a lot of hours on them, because they're running up and down the road and making deliveries day after day. So they've got a lot of hours. I don't want to create a maintenance issue. So if we got a new cooling system, I can do it for a couple $1,000 and have something brand new.
Okay. The other question I had was, during your time at a jury trial, is there any additional help we can call on, or whatever, during your absence?
Yes, I have 5 deputies currently sworn in, so they'll be covering for me while I'm in there should I not be able to leave. Hopefully they decide I'm not there for 15 days, but they'll release me for at least part of that.
There's no reason.
Good, good.
Any other questions? Oh, got one from somebody new back there, Rita.
Will you touch a little bit on the Spark program that you have?
Sure. We've partnered with a company called Spark that does veterans brain studies. And they're working on Fort Carson. I'm one of 6 or 7 counties that have partnered with them so far, and they're working their way into others. I actually had them at the Colorado Coroners Association board meeting the other day and introduced them to the board. They're doing studies on brains of veterans, and they'll come to they'll send a representative down to meet with the family and ask for a donation, kind of like a science donation. And what they're studying is the correlation between traumatic brain injuries and the increased suicide rate in veterans. And there's a correlation there, and they're studying that. So they'll come down and ask for basically a brain donation from a deceased veteran from the age of 18 to 60. So should I get one of those deaths of a veteran of that age, I can call them, they'll send a representative down to meet with the family and see if they can procure that specimen for their study. And it's a pretty fascinating study, and it's they want to do things like redesign helmets like the NFL did for concussion protocols and things like that. They want to do that for soldiers, and that's what their program works towards is better safety and understanding TBIs and how to prevent them. So we're on the lookout for those guys to help them out.
So this is only going to be veterans that are committing suicide?
No,
So it's
no, any kind of death.
Okay, and then how are you determining if they had a diagnosed TBI?
They actually take the specimen, they will send it to their laboratory in Maryland and dissect it.
No, but I'm saying, if they're studying TBI, how are you determining that that veteran had TBI in order to contact Spark to then talk to the family? Are you just doing it for every veteran?
Just doing it for everyone. And they thought it would be a really low percentage, but they're finding out it's a lot more than they expected. They've done, I don't know how many so far, and the percentage is way more than they expected. They're saying that veterans can have TBIs for firing automatic weapons, not just an IED explosion or something like that. They're saying if you're firing a 50 cal, a lot of those guys are testing positive for this. So, and it's way more than what they expected it to be. So we're taking everybody that's eligible and willing, they could go for the study.
Also, they need a baseline too, Dominic, of normal brains as well.
Right.
Normal for a 60-year-old veteran.
Right, and after 60, the atrophy in your brain kind of is there anyway. So they don't really want anybody after 60 other than certain cases. So it's kind of the middle-aged group.
Paul's got a question.
Brad, one question.
Yes, sir.
Timeline from time of death to they can actually have a good test.
Can be about 72 hours. So before they'll put it on ice and they'll ship it to Maryland. But actually, we have a fair amount of time to recover. So, yeah, kind of an interesting. But and then in March we had 6 deaths in March that we handled and 3 hospice. So congratulations on making it through March. It was pretty deadly. We averaged 2 a month. We averaged 2 a month, so 6 was a bunch. So, and 9 total, so March was busy.
Yeah.
So.
All right, any other questions? Anybody online? We're good. Jim?
Good.
Jim Chaplin. You know, Brad goes to a lot of the local meetings and stuff here all around and gives a brief report and everything. So I'm hearing a lot more about the coroner's office and stuff after that and everything. It's all been positive. People are really pleased with what he's been doing and stuff. And that's unusual because people don't talk about that kind of thing.
That's right, they like not to. And we've learned an awful lot from a coroner over the last couple of years. Thanks, Frank.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good day.
Okay, speaking of vets, come on up, Dominic.
Good day. I did get it from Lions, yeah. Good, so, yes, good.
Brought your pie with you?
I did.
Good.
We see you bring his motorcycle or his car.
His pie.
His pie.
Morning, Phil.
Put your butts in. All right, and you had his report to sign?
Yeah, I've got mine. I've got it somewhere in here.
Okay, you can blast.
Oh, it's right here on top. Would you like a pie?
Please.
I would like my pie. All right, so last month, I was in the office 13 out of 17 days. The other 4 days I was
Keep
out.
loud.
Sorry. I was out the other 4 days for spring break. My youngest son was here. Scheduled appointments had 47. 2 no-shows, 2 cancellations, had 33 walk-ins. Filled in 12, or did 12 new power of attorneys. That brings us to 271 total since I arrived. 24 new intent to files, so that brings us up to 407. New and increased claims, I filed 19 new claims, so that brings us up to 269 total. 93 of those are first-time claims, so the veteran never filed a claim with the VA before. 7 supplemental claims, 1 higher level review, and then I've sent 2 claims to the Board of Veteran Appeals, just because of they awarded the wrong dates. And if they award correctly, that's a sum of $750,000 that those 2 veterans are owed. Individual unemployability, I didn't do any new ones for that. Total claims ending March was 427, and 346 of those have been rated, and that's since I arrived here, so that's 81% of the claims I've filed have been rated. No new burial reimbursements, no new survivor benefits. I've got
Why, you had 2 total and 2 denied. Why did they deny?
because they'd never filed a claim, so they were not service connected.
Oh, really?
Yep, so a veteran, if they're gonna go into a state or national cemetery, it's covered by the VA.
Right.
But if they're gonna be buried in a private cemetery and they're not service connected, then there's no burial reimbursements. And even then, it's not gonna, it's just gonna put a small, yeah, it's like $1,800. So it's not gonna cover the whole funeral expenses and all that stuff, but I mean, it has a little bit, but, I did do 1 survivor benefit, which it's just, that one's pending. VA debt waivers, no new ones. Increase in compensation, 65 of those 93 that I filed have now been service connected, so it's almost 70%. Increased monthly compensation since 1 January of this year. Monthly compensation is $20,000, $20,600. Retro payments are up to $111,000 since the beginning of the year. That's the back payments, and that's why I use those intent to files to maximize that dollar amount. So between 1 January and 3/31, and projecting out through the end of the year, that's $334,000 that's coming to the county. And then I've got 201 veterans that have received increased ratings or been service connected since I got here. Annual compensation, though, since I arrived, I've increased it by over $3 million. And then looking down at the other areas that I'm helping, the veteran out of Clear Creek, I've been helping for a minute. He got service connected, so that's his money through the end of the year. Fremont County, there was a change there. I think I got 1 more person out of Fremont County, a couple of people out of Fremont County that increased by. But everybody else has been here in Custer. And that $761,000 is the money that's gone out to all those other areas since I got here. 34 veterans have been awarded 100%, and again, my goal for everybody is to get them 100% when they walk through my door. 29 of those are off of direct claims, and then the other 5 are from corrected claims that I had to get involved in. And then the pie chart is where we're currently at. So if we're looking at the side without the gray area on it, that's the outcome of all the claims. So favorable outcomes are at 75%. That's 77 in the red, those 77 claims. 12 of those are legitimate denials, and the rest are all mistakes on the VA's part. So I have to re-engage and do more paperwork to get it corrected, which is frustrating. But we're getting there. I want that red number or that red slice to go away, but that's quality control on the VA's part right there. My Veterans Assistance Grant, we have a little bit less than the 12,500 available, but we've assisted 12 veterans so far. Marketing, I've pretty much used my 10% for marketing at this point. And then all my reimbursements have been paid out. So I've got all those reimbursements back already. And then we're getting those back within 30 days. So So when I put in for the reimbursement, they turned around pretty quickly. Charitable donations, I had 7 donations total since arriving here for $4,000. I'm actually down to $200 now, so I'm looking at doing some of the fundraisers to put some money back in that pot to help my widows and widowers. I do have a couple of veterans that want to give back, because I got them large back payments. They want to come in and donate, so they kind of give me their word they're going to come in and donate some money and give back, so that'll bolster that pot. Outreach, we're still doing our women's veterans coffee. I've got Courtney connected with Amy Domingue, who's the state VSO for women and marginalized veterans. She's planning on coming down here in either July or August to meet with the women's veterans coffee group. So that'll be good. The 4th, I met with the American Legion, gave them their update. The 5th, I went out to the American Legion post in Florence, because they had requested I come up there and talk to them about claims, which I did. The 7th, I was on the Colorado Board of Veterans Affairs meeting. 13th, we do our Wetmore walk-in. I had 5 veterans that showed up for that. And again, I'm going to continue doing that as long as people show up. I'm on the board for the Advanced Service Dogs out of Canyon City, so we had a meeting with them on the 21st. Our Veterans Coffee Social, we're still getting good participation there. We're averaging about a dozen of veterans a week, and every other week we get 1 or 2 new veterans coming in, so we're going to keep that going. Upcoming stuff, well, Keith's already on board, so Keith is the Mount Carmel rep, taking over Christie's position. He's working out well so far.
Everything's smoothed out.
Yep, and it's good to go. We're good there.
With all the veterans, Legion and VFW and everything.
Yeah, they're fine. They're good. I got all that squared away, so they're all on board and they're all good.
Okay.
The 1st was the American Legion meeting. I just gave them my report because I was in Grand Junction for our state training. And then obviously the 2nd through 3rd, I was over there in Grand Junction for the state training. The Women's Veterans Coffee was the 7th. The Legion walk-in clinic, they asked me if I could go up there and do a walk-in claims clinic, which I did. I think we had 11 veterans come through. So Courtney and I both went up there for that. I had 2 Korean War veterans come through that had never filed a claim. So they're getting them going on their claims, yeah. And then obviously the 10th, we had our Wetmore walk-in clinic. We're still planning our Angel Fire trip on the 16th and 17th of August. So I'm coordinating right now with the nursing home in Florence and the one in Walsenburg, because we're gonna start over here in Florence and then leave from there, go down to the Memorial Angel Fire, and then on the way back up, we're gonna stop at the nursing homes in Walsenburg and visit with all the veterans there. So that's going on. I've got a couple of fundraisers going on. I'm working with Keith right now on the Mount Carmel fundraiser and getting things started there. He's never done a big fundraiser like this, so he's a little overwhelmed, but we'll get him squared away. And then the only other thing I had was the phone for Courtney. We talked to John about connecting that landline that's back there, and he said that would be a massive project to get that phone connected. I don't know, so I think it'd be easy just to get her the cell phone if we can.
And I think we transferred money, or did the resolution for the transfer last week.
Okay, all right, so now talk to
Yeah.
Lauren or John.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
John.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, cell phone line costs us less than a Century line. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sweet. Do we get a family plan?
Family
plan? Get a
Part of the
discount.
family, man.
Get a discount.
Do you not have a cell phone?
2, the nonstop all day long.
How's a woman's veterans coffee going?
We
We'll
didn't
go to that one.
we didn't advertise a little bit better, and that's probably my fault because I didn't update the flyer and put it out there. When Christy did their initial flyer, it just advertised that one day, the initial one.
day.
Yeah, so I'm gonna update the flyer and get it out there so people know it's a recurring thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we got Dominic's time card here, and this is CVA 26, which, and just for everybody to know that we are certifying that he had 155.5 hours of work and accredited veteran services officer and assistance in the month stated above. So, a motion to
I'll make a motion to approve CVA 26 County Veteran Service Office monthly report.
Bogason, I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the CBA's 26 report for Dominic. All in favor?
Aye.
Bogason, aye.
Kanda, aye. Well said.
Job well done.
Thank you. Got a question in the public there.
Sir,
How many total veterans reside in the county?
on paper, 581.
What is on paper?
So there's no way to accurately track how many veterans we have because VA is opt-in, not opt-out. So if a veteran never registers with VA healthcare or file disability claims, the VA doesn't know they exist.
And, let's see, I guess. Trying to remember where I got the number from. I got a number that's about 130 lower from, I believe it's either census data or the state of Colorado.
Census data, they stopped tracking, or they stopped putting the annotation on there to annotate that you're a veteran in 2010. So
That
that'd be,
wasn't census data, must have been the state.
I was gonna say that'd be old data.
Yeah.
So, well, state data's still not gonna be correct either because VA is gonna be the most accurate. So from fiscal year 22, we were at 596. Fiscal year 23, we dropped to 581. Fiscal year 24, it'll be higher. Because those 93 veterans that I brought in that the VA didn't know about and filed their claims, they're now gonna populate on that
So
data.
581 is 23.
Yes,
Well, that's why he's got 93 now.
plus the 93.
Right.
Or I would many more before the next report.
I don't want to be too mistaken. Arithmetic is all just using.
Yeah.
But the stat's still true, we're like the second highest.
And what we're seeing
Per capita.
nationally is two things. The number of veterans is going down and the dollar amount of compensation is going up. There's more veterans are filing claims and we're losing our largest demographic base of veterans, which is that Vietnam veteran population. But this is why I encourage all the VSOs across the state to get out and do outreach, find their veterans, educate them on their compensation and all the benefits that they're eligible to receive. Because then it bolsters the numbers by getting those folks in. So I'm gonna reverse the trend and our number's gonna go up, not down.
Very good.
Okay. Anybody else? Jim, you got one.
Yeah, Jim Chaplin, I'll open my big mouth one more time here. I've been here, I don't know, 30 years full-time, and a little more part-time and stuff there. Known a lot of veterans and stuff there, and I've never heard one of them say anything about the veteran services and stuff until Dominic came in, and it's all been good.
Thanks, sir. I
Yeah,
tried.
and nobody was filing claims since I've been around other than Don. Good job.
I'm trying. But
You
I
are
appreciate,
very trying.
I appreciate the support.
Thanks. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Nope.
Thank you, good job.
Now it's Bob's turn. Okay, your time and turn. Project.
Mr. Bob, how you doing? Good.
Bob Smith, Human Services.
Resources,
I mean.
I get that all the time.
I know, everybody's
Yeah.
confused.
I even get phone calls about it. All right, so attached to my report is just an update of activities for the master plan for the department. That's a long-term picture of things that I've identified to be worked on. The employee benefits RFP for property and casualty went out based on the previous meeting. So that's out. I've had phone conversations with 5 brokers. They're all have expressed interest in participating and responding to the RFP for consideration of being our broker for those purposes.
How long have we had the same broker?
CTSI, best as I can, 2017. We moved from CEBT to CTSI at that time. CBET is also a self-insured pool. I've had employers, counties, cities that have had them before. They're primarily in the city market, cities and towns. CTSI is primarily the county market for those who want to participate in a pool type of situation as direct market to different carriers. So I went over the steps and process for the RFP last meeting, and I can go over that again for the, not so much for the board's sake, but for the community's sake. Those who might be listening in the audience, but step one is put the RFP out. And put that on the county's website, publicly posted this, we put in the county's newspaper, local newspaper, and then also by me contacting brokers and people that I have worked with or knowledge of, just by virtue of years in the position.
Keep your voice up.
So then the RFPs are collected, they'll be reviewed to determine which broker we think would best suit us and our needs and the direction we want to go. That'll be, then once we select that, we will contact with them, do it's called a broker letter that basically allows, we say this is our broker, they are allowed to go out to the market for us to contact carriers on our behalf and solicit their bids.
Best Buy.
Basically, yeah. If the board decides to leave CTSI, we need to give them notice by October 1. So it's doable. It's a little bit of aggressive time schedule just because it's a long process. I have for the board the schedule. So let me keep one. So the RFP went out April 14th. Proposals from interested brokers are due back May 1. Selected vendor interviews of the brokers submitted is May 9th, Friday, May 9th, and then proposed consideration for the board is May 15th. Now that's all subject to revision depending on number of factors. Let's see. In my report, I listed all the projected project description, county's goals. I don't know that you want me to read that. It's available online and it's available for anyone who pulls it down. The RFP is posted on the county's website. So if anyone wants to look at it, read it, have access to it, it's there for them as well as any broker who wants to have access to it. The 5 that I've contacted all have copies of it and have all verbally stated they are interested and would be participating in submitting RFP proposals. Currently, we have 3 positions being recruited and posted for, and possibly 1 or 2 more coming shortly. This week, I've done 3 exit interviews for positions, people who have resigned to move on to other, for various reasons. So the number of positions posted to change depending on department head's decision if they want to fill that or not. That's really their decision, if they want to backfill that position or not, is based on their operations. We have a number of workers' compensation claims that are open. Some are active. By active, I mean they are having regular appointments with the designated provider or physical therapist or various things like that. Some of them are still open, but the CTSI hasn't actually closed it because they're in various stages of managing the claim. So We also have some open property and liability claims open for a variety of number of things, so. And that's it.
Okay. Any questions? Anything up here? Or that, got Jim, state your name.
I'm a little confused.
Jim Gilbert, right, speaking?
Yeah,
Okay.
the other Jim. So I'm a little confused. CTSI is a provider.
They would be considered our broker.
They are a broker.
They act in that capacity for us,
For all accounts.
for all the counties that are
Okay,
part of that.
so I don't understand the differentiation
Okay.
about telling them about the RFP or not. If you're sending the RFP out to brokers, they're obviously brokers, they should get it. But the question I have is, the RFP is just for a broker to be a broker, or a broker to
It's-
be the insurer?
No,
To be a broker.
it's to be a broker.
So there'll be another RFP for the insurance.
Yes, they are tasked with creating the RFP that goes out to the insurers, to use the correct language, which would be Blue Cross Blue Shield. It could be any number of carriers, and that's done for our benefit. They have connections and abilities to get those insurers to reply to our request. They market us to the health insurance
Okay,
carriers.
who is our health, who is our, benefits and workers' comp insurance carrier now via CTSI?
CTSI acts as the broker for all the counties that are members of the County Technical Services Inc., okay? So, CTSI markets those plans on a somewhat regular basis, I don't know. So it's through medical and dental is through Blue Cross Blue Shield. Vision is through VSP. Life insurance, I don't know that I can tell you directly.
Okay, so it's the same phenomenon regardless of who the broker is?
Right.
Okay.
We give them the authority, the counties do, and they charge us a fee every month.
The issue with the RFP is CTSI may be more expensive than it needs to be.
Right.
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
I
That's
do
all.
know that one of the brokers I have talked to has helped counties do an RFP for the same process we're doing last year for purposes of looking to change and/or has changed. So I do know that what we're doing now has been done last year and is currently being done by other counties.
So they have a lot of losses with 64 counties and they raise the rates on us. We may be able to get in another pool that might be lower.
And to be clear, see, what's confusing is that, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, CTSI both acts as our broker, but also manages the pool that we're a part of
Yes.
as a self-insured entity.
Yes, yeah. It's a self-insured pool, meaning our claim, it's not important, but they're a self-insured pool.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Bob.
Yeah, one more. I'm sorry, I forgot.
No worries.
I noticed that you mentioned your departmental master plan.
Yes.
Is that unique to HR, or is that a common,
I don't
thing for all departments?
I don't know what other departments do, but I have found it in my work history to have a master plan of things that are always in front of you to help pick, okay, these is the high priority things, and I'm gonna start on these, get direction from the board, and so this is what we're working on, and I can delegate to other folks within the department these things to work on. I know when I started, it was made clear that Custer County has not had a human resources department before, so it was necessary to create a task list of what needed to be done.
Some other
Prioritize
departments
it.
do, the sheriff department has a master plan he's working on what's priority.
Yeah, I was just
As well as the
curious if
Yeah, I don't know what other
that was a
departments do.
consistent thing across the organization, or if you're getting into trouble because it may become consistent across the organization.
Yeah, and then he
I-
tries to be
Yeah, so,
consistent
okay,
with
that's
the
it.
county master plan. but all
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's-
I can answer for
that was
myself.
just super interesting to-
All right, Bob Fulton.
A comment, I want to commend you for saying the proper way is workers' compensation. It's been many decades that people get it wrong. It's not workmen's compensation. Lots of women in the workforce. So thank you for having that in writing. To deal with that with our town. Have the proper verbiage.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
sir.
Not many people do that.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks. I think that's it. All right,
Uh-huh.
next up is finance. Vernon's here.
You all, sir? Thanks, Vernon. Mr. Vernon. Morning.
So finance and accounting's had a pretty busy month, but what month isn't busy? This serves as both the finance and the accounting report. Projects ongoing, monthly financial reconciliation and audit preparation. We have reviewed and updated journal vouchers for balance sheet reconciliation. There is continuous and coordination between the accounting and finance to gather documentation for audit readiness. It's been really time consuming. I understand why past administrations just kind of waited till the last minute. This is, it gets pretty intense. Benjamin Wood from Redlands Consulting has been assigned and to work with us as well as Lisa, and we're in their daily communication on all of our JVs and reconciliation processes. Bank reconciliations have all been received by the accountant, and we are reviewing those and aligning them with the treasurer's records. And what that means is, as an example, when we make for instance, we'll make a $100,000 payment to the IRS, and we'll do that in one lump sum, and it goes out of our account as a $100,000 payment, but the IRS may receipt it as 3 different payments or 4 different payments of differing amounts. And so that becomes very complicated for the treasurer to reconcile. It gets kicked to the accountants and myself to make certain that everything is in line. We say, okay, these 4 payments that the IRS is receiving and it's showing up on our bank statement actually relate to this $100,000 payment that we made, and so it all correlates. So that's kind of an oversimplification, and that's just one example. There are many like that. So that's what that statement means. We're also reviewing all the invoices in CIC. We've been working with Caitlin as BOCC admin, and going through and making certain all the documentation is ready for the audit. Grants management, which has always been a challenge and listed on our audits as a material weakness. We are working very diligently to make certain that our grants management is ready for the audit, including coordination with all the offices and departments to compile documentation on the grants, accounts receivable, accounts payable, corresponding revenue and expenses, and making certain all of those are coded correctly. Accounting and finance was there a question, sir?
No.
Okay. Accounting and finance, coordinating grant accuracy and making certain that we have all the information. As we've talked about before, we've created a long checklist showing all the grant documentation to make certain that this is in compliance with CFA, Schedule for Expenditures and Federal Awards. In association with that, we've also crafted some of the policies that we've talked about recently and some more that are coming down the pipe.
are specifically designed to make certain we stay in compliance with federal guidelines. Because while certain things have changed at the federal level, the guidance and requirements have not. So it's an ongoing project and a challenge that we're working on. We're also working with the HR office for compensated absences analysis and the assessment of accrued liability for the audit. That's all included in the audit report.
And that was a requirement based on what?
So when we accrue leave liabilities, so let's say I've got 10 hours of leave.
Does anyone have any questions for Patty or for me?
It's like somebody logged into the wrong Zoom meeting.
Patty, are you there?
So for instance, if I have 10 hours of accrued sick leave, or PTO rather, that is actually listed on our books as a liability. So that if I were to take those 10 hours, or if I were to leave and had to have those 10 hours paid out, those would be properly recorded as a liability in our book structure, so that we can stay in compliance. This is federal reporting.
Enough to cover.
Yeah, exactly. We have to have enough to cover it. So getting that broken out, over the last 2 years, we've gone through a lot of changes, including switching from vacation and sick leave to a PTO. The accruals, the balances, and all that stuff have to be calculated out, and HR is working on that process for the audit right now.
Okay.
Audit coordination, as was mentioned before, we've been in communication with the auditors. We've been preparing the documentation for the annual review, basically in alignment with the auditor's expectations. In the past, it's been, okay, the auditors are here, everybody gather up your stuff. We've been working very diligently to get that in place before, so that we can hand them great big piles of flash drives and paperwork and documentation when they get here.
So how do you stand against that schedule that's laid out? You gave us that last time. Is it still good?
It is. We're absolutely moving forward. Lisa believes that everything will be compiled by the time the auditors. They won't even call us until the 28th. So by the auditors coming up at that point in time, we should have everything. We have everything compiled. We believe we're just reviewing it all now for completeness.
Good.
So. And then once we're done with that, we can do the final reconciliations for the close out the fiscal year of 24. In addition, finance, BOCC admin, treasurer's office, and the assessor's office, we've worked on 6 core requests in April to date. We've also done a lot of policy work, records retention, payroll and accounts payable duties and responsibilities, including AP workflows and policies. Policies being different than workflows being a department level deal, but policies that affect the entire county. And as well as creating the treasurer finance accounting interface and making sure that the training is in place. We'll be doing some training very shortly here with the treasurer's office and our financial software to make certain that finance is in the loop with all of the processes that the treasurer's office have to go through. One of our deputy treasurer went to a training this weekend, and it is readily apparent across the board, across the state, that there needs to be better communication between the treasurer's office and the finance offices and the BOCCs. This is a material weakness across the state in every county, and so these trainings that we're going to will be starting to address that. Lastly,
where is the training going to be?
That one was in. The training that is ongoing right now is in Lyman. The financial software training will
Step on hero.
The financial training
You didn't push the button far enough.
will be via Zoom. It'll be in our offices, so it'll be on site. We don't have to go out for that.
Okay.
Redlands Accounting will be on site on starting April 28th, and we'll be working on just final prep for the audit and coordination. So that is my report.
So we're hoping the auditor is here on the 28th, starting that week. And from everything that we have heard, that's what he's planning on. That's what we've requested from him. After the 15th, I guess he's kind of taken some time off here right after the 15th. He was gonna take Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. And then he's gonna regroup with his group, this next week and come up with a game plan for all their, clients. But, we've been sending him stuff since April 1st, so that he can start reviewing it this next week, to come up with his game plan, so.
Schedule for it.
Yeah, so we're really hoping that we've started implementing, when I called him last year, every 2 weeks, his big thing was monitoring. And we're doing much more of that. Kristen, who is doing our AP, is monitoring, on an AP cycle. Hey, we can run a report, has every department put their invoices in and scan them in? So we have a report now on that, true, false, and we can go back and we start hitting those departments up, hey, get this in. So we're not going back like we are this year to 24, and that's largely what Caitlin's been doing, is going back through all the 24 payments that we've made to vendors and going, are all of our invoices attached? So a big effort on her part, and she's planning on being done by the 5th of May. So with the vast majority of them, and then we're just hitting the really big ones that we don't have and going back and trying to find those. So we found the majority of all the invoices were in files, so we've got those going. So we're putting a lot more monitoring in place to make sure this is happening throughout the year instead of catching up on the back end. So also most counties, I shouldn't say most counties, there is a lot of organizations out there that haven't filed audits. We have always filed an audit. We've always, Sam DiNardo has been our auditor for decades, and so we've always filed. So I want to just make sure that is very clear. We've always filed our audit. Yeah, there's times we've filed an extension, but we've always got it in by the time frame. So, and then how many hours are we putting into core requests here?
I have, in this month alone, I have in excess of 15 hours.
Yeah, this week alone. But the total, or what are we looking at? Hundreds of hours?
Over the last year, I've put in at least 100 hours.
And there is a particular quarter request that may require multiples of what's within the last contract.
Yeah.
You may have
Which-
to address that before.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately, Robert and I are the only people that can actually fulfill those requests. So that will require a significant amount of time from the rest of our duties if that happens.
Correct.
So
We also probably, I would like to redraft the core policy that we have. It's somewhat out of date and it really needs to be readjusted to meet the realities of what we face.
Yeah, the request frequency and numbers in the same subject.
Right, and then the pay for our 2 staff that have to do it is above the rate that we're charging for, so we're losing money on these core requests. The other thing that I've, and I'm hoping it's done here by the end of May, but the ARPA funds, the LATCF funds will be on our website listed along with our audits and budget resolutions. We're gonna put that out there, and make that known. That's documents that we owe to the public, so we'll put that out there.
circling back around to the monitoring, the other monitoring process that we've implemented is the AP clerk and myself are reviewing all of the credit card statements. And as they are paid, and we're now paying them on the mid-month cycle, so we get a more, so that we get a more timely deposit into the.
And they
into the
don't
credit
lose
cards.
the receipt.
Exactly. We're we've implemented instructions and training for the different departments so that each of their statements is entered in exactly as they appear on the statements, and then we can accurately track, make certain that people haven't missed parts of their statements. So, which has been a challenge in the past, and we're correcting that. So that is part of the policies and part of the workflows that we've created that the auditors and the state have requested. So, just wanted to circle back to that.
Okay, I think we're good here. Any other questions? Jim's got one. Gilbert does.
Real quick, what's the total dollar amount of the federal awards?
Dollar amount of the federal awards? We are over the level of the single audit requirements, so that is $750,000. I couldn't give you the exact amount, but if you come to my office next week, I can have the exact dollar amount if you want.
Next week? Okay, but it's greater than.
Compared to the other core requests, it's not that much.
Greater
15 minutes.
Greater than $750,000.
Not a bunch bigger.
Does not include the, any federal grants to the special tax districts.
So I only track the grants to Custer County proper.
Yeah.
Got it.
Which includes the general fund, the road and bridge, airport, OEM, DHS. So
yeah, you don't track school.
No, yeah, I do not
Nor
track
the
the school.
fire
If you wanted, see, even the treasurer wouldn't track the school stuff.
No, you have to go.
The treasurer would only track the general property tax distributions.
Kathy, state your name.
Kathy Griffin. So the county audit starts on April 26th or 8th? 28th, okay,
Really when the auditors arrive.
okay. And then is there another audit in August?
No.
Okay.
Not unless the audit goes very long.
We've had them
Yes.
move into that before
Yes, we
because
have.
of their schedule.
Okay.
So
File a core request or read one.
July 31st is the due date. You can ask for a 2-month extension or a 60-day extension.
Okay, thank you.
And audits have been pushed out that long in the past. But we're working very hard to make certain that it happens before that, or is completed before that.
Okay, any other questions? State your name, go ahead.
Jim McMahon. Is that San Bernardo that's doing that audit?
It is, yes. Garen Ross and Denardo is the firm that's doing the audit, yes.
How many years have they done the audit?
You just missed the
Right.
report, but
So
it's
I want- I
like
just-
18 years or something.
Got it, so it's been a long time. And then it was mentioned earlier that you can't change auditors this year.
No, this year would not be a good year to do that.
Okay.
Because we were behind the 8 ball. The RFP should go out August 1st.
For new auditors.
For new auditors. Firms. We tried, we looked, we had Lisa Amon look, and nobody was willing.
They couldn't take it for us.
Even give us a price
Statewide.
because they had already planned their year out, so. Yeah.
So are we finding one for next year? Is
But you
that
heard him say we're having an RFP to go get new one.
right?
August 1st, that's what my plan is.
So what are the odds of that happening?
We'll see what happens. It sounds like there was some firms that were interested if we RFP'd in August, so.
What is the complexity of it? Are we conforming to the government standards, and they're able to come in and evaluate it, or is it kind of our own bookkeeping system?
No, they'll be able to look at it and come in. So it's just whether they want to take it on or not.
Well, I just remember, it went from $10,000 or $12,000 a year not too long ago.
It's never been 10 or 12,000. I pulled all those receipts. It's been significantly more than that for the last 15, 20 years.
20.
So it went from 15,000, 12 to 15,000 for 3 different, so general fund, road and bridge, and human services. So they split that cost out 3 ways. So it could have been looked like the audit was only 15,000, but it was split out 15,000 per department, so it was really $45,000. And yes, we've escalated into the Last year was $80,000. Part of it is all the state and federal requirements that are on top of it. The single audit adds more because we took in more federal grant funds. And so that kicked us into another single audit, so it increased our cost.
Single audit is a designation which, it does not mean you have one single audit. It means that you go through your regular audit and then you have another special audit on top of that to audit specifically the $850,000 that have been given to you by federal grants. And so on top of your regular audit, we then have to pay for the single audit of those federal grants, which increases our complexity and which increases the cost. So it's like we say, free money is never free. We all have to pay for that free money.
So if we were to grade the finance department at this point in time, what grade would the three of you give the finance department?
I give them an A for what we have been in the past.
Accomplishments,
For going and correcting the problems that we've had in the past. And doing it in time. He's gonna make the 28th deadline to file on the 28th of April today, to put it, not to file, but to get the audit started.
To start the audit, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We've never done.
So I'd say we're at a B. We have more people now involved. We went from really one person being involved, or I should say doing the job at 40%. You know, the system that we had before was both HR and finance together. And that was a single person less than any other county our size. And most counties our size have both, have a single person that does AP and a single person that does payroll. Well, we had that kind of all lump summed into one department, one system of two people.
Yeah.
And so now we've split that out. We've got one person for AP, we have one person for payroll. Our BOCC admin is helping us out. And we have a director of finance and a director of HR. So we have a lot more people.
And a contract auditor.
Yes, sir. Contract accountant, yes.
Contract accounting. So we have a lot more people in the system, and we're still digging somewhat from out of the past and putting policies and procedures in place that used to be, you didn't have because you had one person and one person doing it. From the days of where Donna Hobby was getting out of it and getting to the place of retirement, to now we've got more people involved in our system. So I'd say we're at a B. We got some improvement to make to get us to that A rating.
So one other question, I don't want to make this too laborious, but this is a very, I feel like this is the hub of the county, and it's very, very significant.
Sure.
And I thank you, Mark, for all you've done. You stood in there and did well.
Stand in the gap.
So what is the computer software that you guys use, and how well is that? How well are we coming along with that?
So we're coming along better. There was some setup that didn't get maintained throughout its, from the beginning, both in HR and in finance. So we're going back through those things. Invoices didn't all get put in there. I think we have scanned in there. I think we have a lot of the invoices. The invoices were put in files or put in boxes. So now we're going back through and updating that. 23 will be the next year that we go after. We have a lot of boxes that have paperwork in them, and those are, to me, that's unreconciled. It needs to be put into the system and make sure that we've done what we're supposed to do. So
if I can make a comment on that too. Our computer information systems, it's a massive step up from our former system that we used until 2021, which was literally a DOS-based system. You run a report, and that report ceased to exist in the system, and it exists only on paper, which we have literally rooms full of old reports and paper. So moving from ACS to CIC has been a massive benefit to us. because of, as I was talking to the commissioners previously, because of the fact that it forced us to kind of restructure our relationship between finance and the treasurer. Is it the best system? It's not the best system, but it's also not incredibly expensive. I've been exploring the idea of going out to other systems. We cannot change systems without the approval of the treasurer, because our systems are so intertwined, interlaced. And our current treasurer does not want to change systems as long as she's in office, which is for 2 more years. So I've already started the process of looking at new systems, everything from Oracle to Tyler, and all of this, and it's going to be a significant outlay. It's going to be more expensive. So then the question is, do you want to learn a clunky system, or do you want to pay for the Cadillac? It's going to be up to the commissioners, of course. We are going to be using this system for another 2 years because of that interlacing, because of that interconnectedness. So, but I'm starting the process, because a lot of these systems you have to get on the waiting list. You have to get on a year-long waiting list to even start a conversion. So it's a process.
So are you looking at professional people that are having to do this? Are you getting some advice from people outside of your realm that are experts in this?
Well, we've been talking to Lisa Amon, our accounting contractor, and she's been reaching out as well, reaching out to other counties and seeing what is working, what is not working. A lot of times there you get one county goes, yeah, I really love it, and the next county goes, nah, I hate it. And so you've got you've got 20% approval rating to a 80% approval rating. We're like,
well, we've got the 2 years, like you said, to be working that.
Right, and that's kind of
what we can graduate into eventually, or train. People are getting used to being on the system now. Jim, never have been.
Oh, no,
and
no.
The training has gotten better. People are actually taking into account and knowing what their budgets are and manage their budget by using it.
Absolutely. What I'm a little irritated about, Bill, is when I was coming to the meetings and listening to the finance report and how the conversion was going. Month after month, it was great, it was wonderful, we're doing stellar. Would you agree with that?
It's improving.
Because it's on YouTube, it's all published.
Sure, it's been,
Yeah,
it's
all right
improving
there.
each month. We've made a significant difference each month that they're getting into it, and more people are getting familiar with it.
Right, because we had no idea that there was credit cards all handed out, we were trying to do some other form of.
We knew that, but
tracking.
that was what we've been reporting that have been changed and streamlined.
We as the public didn't know any of that. So that's all I was getting at. I would just really like to see the honesty and sincerity go forward.
As long as we're here, it's
And
going
Lucas,
good.
thank you, because it's all happened on your watch, Mr. Cannon. Lucas, since you've showed up, you've done stellar, and I think this group that's been formed, I think we are going in the right direction, and I appreciate you guys, thank you.
I have one thing to add. You asked for 3 of us to give us a grade. I have not spoken that yet. So if I may take about 30 seconds to do that. One, I agree. I'd say an A+ on where we're at, where we were and where we're at currently. And I agree with Lucas on the B, but I put a B+ there because I get to look at and see it from a different perspective in the office, and we're on target. And the other thing is just the system was not being used at 100%. And that's where the receipts came in, putting scanning and everything and pulling that all together. And now we're using that system to our advantage. And that's where I believe those grades are appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm too deep in the weeds to give a grade. I'm just
Okay, Jim Gilbert, and then we got to move
making it
on.
happen.
Okay, real quick, I've been hearing about this finance thing for quite a while, and ever since Lucas and Vernon and those folks got involved, I've heard nothing but good things. Everything is vastly improved. The second thing is, I look at this as a construction project. You're building a brand new building. At some point, you need to tear down the old one and throw it away. And so does everybody in the county.
what we're doing here is something that a county our size, I don't think has done. Most counties our size that I talked to early on, Kit Carson, Ouray, or however you pronounce it, Ouray. They've got a county administrator, a payroll clerk, and an AP clerk. They have 3 people, and that does both finance and HR. And I don't know how they're doing it. I think they're going to, well, I just know that there's other counties. I go to their websites and I look up and I try to find audits. Dolores County, I can't find an audit past 2020 that's posted. So I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know what's happening, and it really doesn't matter. All I know is we need to go somewhere where we're monitoring and we're doing the job appropriately, and that we are starting to knock off or changing the opinions that we have gotten on our audits to the county is meeting these standards in full, and that's our goal. So I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Okay, Vernon doesn't have to stick around because we're weaning him from the IT job, so why don't you get away so we don't ask you a question?
Okay, thank you all, be well.
Thank you.
Yeah, the audit, or this is a written report for the IT department. And the significant thing here is John Mapes has been doing a great job, and I mentioned it at the front of the meeting with the complete overhaul of public health, and you can get more insight on what they did over there, Lucas, in a minute. And then one other thing we're transitioning is this GIS transitioning to ARC Pro from ARC Map, and we're training with the cartographer to do that. So in the future, everything's so automated, the cartography thing that we've got today makes a big, nice, beautiful map. But you get those nice, big, beautiful maps on digital as well. And so we're trying to come into the third wave of IT world with it.
Correct.
And what else can we mention here? He's also multi-purposed, and I have to understand why the IT guys are removing bulletproof glass from the human services area. But he got involved in that because it does impact the wiring that goes through there and the alarms. Anything else you want to mention?
So the RFP, we're creating an RFP, both Vernon and Dan Slater are, for contract services of the IT department. We are not able to stay on top of IT security, IT protocols, and we would have to really build our staff up, and then we can only take, and we'd have to prioritize every IT help desk ticket that we have. So we're really looking at a third-party contract, send it out there, see what the proposals we get. We kind of know what we need, we kind of know what we want. And then we're gonna kind of try to integrate GIS and IT services from a John Mapes standpoint, since he's kind of learning that end of it, all into one department. So I think it'll help us kind of control IT better and be able to respond better to our staff. The sheriff's department has really increased in their IT technology and need better support. It's a long-term plan. If we would ever bring back a 911 call center back here, 2 guys can't take on that. You almost need another half a person just for a 911 center. So this would help with that in the future. I really don't want to ever really discuss bringing a 911 center back here unless we have a secondary fiber line, because the fiber to Custer gets cut at least once a year, if not twice, and that would shut down the 911 center. So there's talk about it, and I'm willing to discuss it as a future plan, and what do we need for our support staff to support something like that in the future, and third-party IT would help with that somewhat. So that's been part of this whole discussion. We're gonna do an audit of all of our landlines. We have noticed that the fees, part of our monitoring is going back through expenses of programs. What were we paying 3 years ago? What are we paying now? And CenturyLink's prices have continued to ratchet up. And so how many landlines do we have? How many aren't we using? We need to get rid of some of these. Do we need to go to voice over internet protocol for our phone lines? So we're looking at some options there. But part of helping out our finance department as well is getting IT off of Vernon's back so he can really focus more so on finance. So I probably spoke more than I should.
No, that's good, and in fact, I think everybody's familiar with a program, whether it's Quicken or whatever, and somebody asks permission to tunnel in and fix your problem. So it's a way of the world right now. I wish we had just discs like we always did. You could get by with one IT guy. This will help, and we're making some progress. So, any other questions there? You first.
Kathy Griffin, Caitlin, would you mind scrolling back so I could see more of this agenda? And it's in reference to, right there, it's great, website, and it says website job description. I think that, do we pay a contract person to handle our website, or is that John and Vernon?
That's John and Vernon right now, and that's part of our discussion as to what we want to do with the website. Because part of what I would like to do, or we would like to do, is we've been, all right, we need to get information out to the public, so we're going to use this paper, and KLZR, and we're going to use this. What our message needs to be to the county is, here's our website where we publish information to the public, and everybody needs to go to that website. Because otherwise, we are using a bunch of county money to reach these 200 people and these 300 people, and we need to just really focus everybody to the same website. And here's where the sheriff's department has their information, and here's where the BOCC has their information, and it's all on one website. I've seen where other counties have done this, and I go to those websites and I can look up and I can review all of their information that they're putting out on one website. And so I want to continue to develop our county website and make that more informational, but I want the public information, office style information, to go to one website. So we really can push, that's where you find out, what's our fire restriction? What is going on with tourism? Or, hey, you're here to hike. Here's the warnings that you need to know if you're gonna go hike in our mountains.
So when you say website job description, I get the impression that means you want to hire a separate person just to do that. But it sounds like from what I'm hearing is you actually want that to be part of the IT job director's.
It's gonna be part of IT, whether that's part of the contract management or whether that's a separate contract for somebody to build that website, and then we manage it.
But that's where it resides, is what this means. And so what are we expecting that to be?
So just two other comments about that. One is at a recent planning, or at a recent BOCC meeting, there was a gentleman that was extremely unhappy with planning and zoning because he hadn't received he believed that he had not received notification. And so I think this is a great opportunity that, that kind of information, rather than be, in addition to it being posted on a physical bulletin board, it can be put on the website too, so it's a little bit more accessible. And Commissioner Kanda, you'll be happy to know that there's at least one person in this county that is probably less technically inclined than you are, by choice though, and that is when I have brought up the county website before on my cell phone, which is the only thing that I own, it is nearly impossible to read. And I don't know if that's part of the ADA compliance or just design, but I'm just taking that second to get it out here to.
But it's important to remember, there's people that don't have computers or cell phones.
Absolutely.
And so we always have to have the other way. But anything we can do to help the public get more information, that's what we're trying.
Right, okay.
Okay, we gotta move on. We've been spending a lot of time. It's already 2 hours in here. We've got a lot to go. Go ahead, John, real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to GIS. I'm involved in other projects that relate to GIS, and I think there needs to be better coordination. So I'm working with OEM on developing a community wildfire protection plan, and we're building GIS maps. And we're bringing in data from the county assessor, we're bringing in data from US Forest Service, and from the state fire risk section. All of these layers we're trying to put together to tell a story about community wildfire protection. The other thing I'm working on is I'm on the town planning commission, and we have a map. We have a zoning map, we call it. It's in CAD. It's not even in GIS. We need to port that over to GIS and make it consistent with the county assessor.
Right.
We need to be working together some way with what the county assessor's doing, OEM is doing, IT is doing, so that we're all on the same page. And so I'm asking, probably Lucas, how we get the right people in the room to talk about that.
Well, that's a good one.
I think we just need to, here, after the first week in May, just need to sit down with Vernon and John Mapes and OEM and talk about, because what we've talked about with GIS is doing a certain portion is gonna be for the assessor, and a certain portion of this GIS IT person is gonna be for the sheriff and OEM. So we're kind of, it's all within IT, but they're doing a few hours here and a few hours here as needed, instead of everybody having their own GIS person, and we're paying for 40 hours and they work 8 hours in that division. That's part of our, if you want to call it doging or whatever you want to call it, but just becoming more efficient and more streamlined and getting everything on the same system. And everybody seems to be going to GIS Pro, Arc Pro, and from Arc Map, so we're trying to transition from Arc Map to Arc
So
Pro.
last point I'll make to follow up on what you just said, it's the right thing to do, like we did with the broadband program, where the two towns and the county got together on one program to integrate the requirements from each. We can do the same thing here, and that's something that we have to do as we start to stand this up, is get the towns and the OEM, which is the county,
Right.
and the rest of the county stuff to come together and get a committee. I hate to call it a committee, but it is a program. Well, I would call it a program, a GIS program for the county, which includes all the towns and the other requirements. So, all right, time to take a break. We need to move on and get moving again. So let's take 5. And Human Services are up and it's 10:57 now.
Is,
So-
she's not online. Okay.
Yeah, go. Okay, go ahead, start when you're ready.
Just give us a green one.
You online yet? You ready?
We're good?
Okay, we're good to continue now. Next up, we've got our Human Services, and all the rest of these reports are written, and we'll hit a few highlights in each area.
And it is on the board. And for Human Services, you can see on the board or printed out and everything that the EBT issues, the total EBT issues, dollar amounts, amount issued was $105,498.00. And the year-to-date average, $111,167.50. It shows that they are in budget and marching on smartly. Child welfare intake referrals, total referrals were 5, screened in was 1, and that percentage is 20%. The adult public services, total referrals 2, screened in 0. Percentage ended up being 0, but open cases are 2. That's with legal authority, excuse me. Open cases without legal authority is 0. Total ongoing cases is 1. Child support services, case load count was 72. Monthly collections was $18,890.45. Year-to-date collections were $83,474.33. Won't get into a lot of the report and everything. On budget, things are going good. In the actual human services, any questions? Pretty much self-explanatory, so. Anyway, if you have any questions, please comment. That's all I have for human services. I'm not going into the bar graphs or anything.
No, you don't need to. Okay, this is posted. Okay, road and bridge, I've got that, and big key thing that's happening right now, as you've seen, they're out patching holes because it's thawing out and they've broken up and they're coming out. If you see any, because they go over it and they're not necessarily gonna go back on that road for a while because they're off doing something else, call me or call any of the other commissioners, like if you don't have my number, and we'll make sure that we log and find out where the new holes are and get them on it again. The reason I mentioned this before on Macy Lane, the reason the shoulders last fall were done, they used asphalt to beat the shoulders up before you chip seal them. And we slowed it down because of we don't want the asphalt to be broken out now while it's thawing out. So that's why the speed limit was dropped, and we're going to back up once we chip seal it. It's all prioritized. One of the big priorities right now is Road 220, which is the spillway road going across from Lake Louise to the other side, from the south to the north side. That's a really bad road, and in the end, we're probably gonna have to spend some extra money to chip seal that eventually to get sort of strengthen the shoulders up and keep it, because it's steep grade coming up and down is an issue.
A lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic on it too. The other thing is you'll see the loop on here, Road 238 is the one going out toward Lake Louise on the left where we have the practice fire fighting stuff that goes on there as well. That loop's being worked right now. So we're gonna be busy plowing snow maybe this weekend, and so don't look for your road to be graded too soon. All right, anything else here? I think it's all on there.
Oh, the water truck is back after the flipped on its side, so.
Yeah, they cut a hole, they cut it out, repaired the baffle and fixed the tank, and it's working again. The engine didn't suffer any damage. Got a question out there?
Comment, Bill. I used to live at Golden Eagle.
Say again?
I used to live with Bob Fulton here. I used to live in Bull Domingo, and I still go out there, at least a couple times a month. And every time we spend all that effort to grade 220 from the asphalt or the chip seal on Louise Road, within 2 weeks.
It's all torn up.
Awful.
Yeah.
I always thought a suggestion in the chip seal budget down the road to maybe go ahead and chip seal that quarter mile up to the Bull Domingo entrance or to where you get first entrance to the Lake Louise. And that way, it would really help, I think, further north so that.
Yeah, I agree, and I talked.
It's just, I was out there just last week, it's just awful.
I know it, I've gotten called from several people on that.
It's 4 lane now.
But it, yeah.
Driving in the bar.
I know they are. But that is very hard to do, and I asked them to go out and blade it again today or yesterday. They were gonna do it again because it's needed.
That costs money.
That's right, we have to divert off the other things, but you have to do it otherwise.
2 cents.
Yeah, thanks. So be prepared for some movement. Okay, planning and zoning.
In planning and zoning arena, we go over a few of the stats there, and we only have, is Dorothy on board? No, okay, just wanted to didn't override her if she was on. You probably will see that we have up there that we have 13 septic inspections and site reviews, 13 of those, 9 special conferences. And then we get down to 0 violation review and septic contractor tests, 1 was given. Permits issued during the month, septic permits, compared from last year, we had 3, in 2025 we have 11. Zone permits, this is dwellings, non-dwellings, and total zoning permits. Totals were 8 permits, and this year, 23 were issued this year. Permits issued during the year 24, septic permits was 11, and 2025 was 22. Zoning permits, dwellings, non-dwellings, and total zoning permits again were 36 in 2024 and 53 in 2025. As you're seeing that the increase in our population is coming right along, and hopefully that will help out with some of our revenues this year also. On the last page, the total income was in January, I'll just skip over there, but anyway, January, February, March, we ended up with $116,972.05. In state septics, we're looking at $420 for the year to date, and total receipts were $117,392.05 was the total. It just shows that we are growing, and that the revenues should stabilize here as we get into, but we're going to increase a lot of traffic in construction, so just be aware of that when you're out and about. That's all I have on that report.
Okay, question, John?
Yeah, I'm curious, the dwelling numbers, is that for a new single-family house, or does that include additions to an existing house?
I did not get that broken down. There are some new septic regulations coming out, and they changed, they being the state. The state did change on septics, that's the only thing that we have a new update on. And they were going from, instead of having a number of bedrooms, they go by number of people. And that's going to change some of the septics rules, and as soon as we get that finalized, we'll be able to put that out to everybody. Should be like a grandfathering in program to where only new construction may be affected. We don't know that breakdown yet. And But that's the only thing of the big changes that I've seen coming into that. And as soon as we know, I'll put it out, or Dorothy will.
Most likely those are new starts, John.
Correct.
So Paul, that's for short-term rentals,
It is for
That they're
short, I'm
going
sorry,
from
that is for
bedrooms-
short-term rental.
from bedrooms to beds.
But we're looking to see if it's going to affect new construction also. And we don't have any way of comparing those yet, because they haven't made a determination.
Question,
Thank
Jim.
you.
State your name.
Jim McMahon, so on the septic installs for short-term rentals only, that's where we're going with the people? The amount of people, is that what you said?
So far, that's what the state's gonna change that. If it's for a short-term rental, they want it by the bed, not by the bedroom. So you'll have to count them.
If you can cram
beds
6
you can put in.
college kids in the living room.
So you get 6 in a bedroom instead of 1?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because from what they're finding out across the counties is that they're starting to overwhelm their
Overload
septics. Because they'll put, because a bedroom is considered 2 people and they're packing 4 people in a bedroom.
Or.
Right. And and then if you've seen the minutes from the meeting prior to this one, the county has put a moratorium on, short-term rentals currently until we get more information on how that's gonna go, because we didn't wanna go ahead and accept someone else to have a short-term rental and they have to increase their septic. We didn't want that to be in the middle of all this, find out what the new rules are gonna be by the state.
What really caused it were city, like Aspen, and they're throwing in condominiums, and guys will go in there, and it's the city septic problem, because they put in 20 kids in one room and they ski all day. So, hard to believe, but that, they use those numbers.
So that's why the moratorium came into effect, is for we could find out what the rules are gonna be and not have it to where we have to go out and reinstate and say the rules change, and you change your system, you just got put in to this new rule.
Right.
That's why we did that.
Okay. Any other questions on? All right. Next is up is the airport's written report also, and I'll put a couple highlights on it. Didn't change much from last week. The same projects are going on. Revenue went up. Guess why? A little more sunny day or two. So revenue is $1,279.98. We're trying to keep the price down to $5 or under to attract more people in here and bring that up in volume, and then at the same time bring people in for to be sending money in the county. Speaking of that, I'll talk about since that's up, is Debbie's here, Deb Adams is here, and she's working with Brian Anderson and the airport board on the web page, and that's helping as well, and had a good meeting with you, Deb, if you want to say anything about that.
So the shoot was on April 11th. We could not have asked for a more picture-perfect day with blue skies and absolutely no wind.
And white mountains.
Yes, and white mountains. And the production crew definitely spent a lot of time getting all these different sets, the helicopter getting fueled with jet fuel, a couple getting off a plane with, we did hunting, fishing, and hiking equipment, Clyde servicing a plane and teaching someone. So it was, and the drone, we're gonna have new drone footage of the airport. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was great. Also, out there, the game fence, if you've driven by the airport, you can see the tall fence now, and the deer are staying out, and the antelope are staying in if they got in.
The tumbleweeds are staying.
Yeah, and the tumbleweeds are a big pain now. That is a problem on all fences in the valley. You can see the east fences are all lined with tumbleweeds. We got a lot of kudos from the State Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division people on how we've managed our grants and how we are proceeding. And one of them happens to be the new gates are being funded by a grant 100%. And they are strong, and the motors are fine enough, and the contractor we've got out there doing it is doing an excellent job of doing the welding, extending the height of those automatic gates. And so they applaud that, and we were able to use not, a lot cheaper, it turns out, than what the grant was, and they're letting us keep the additional money that we aren't spending for, in the future, some maintenance issues or something like that, and they said they authorized the airport board to use that money to keep them operating for the next year or two. So that's good news, and they're doing a lot of getting ready for the upcoming air show, which is gonna be another thing that will bring people in. So we'd like to have people that if you've got something to show out there, bring out there, business-wise, put a poster up to advertise, get people in here. We're gonna use the airport cars, put on magnetic signs for your business, those kinds of things. Let's start pushing that in the towns and in the county businesses. That's all I've got, unless there's a question on anything else.
No?
So that grant for the gates, we did take 5% of that, 50,000, so, well, it's just over, it's 56,000, so it was around $5,600 that we took out of capital improvement to match to that grant. The rest of that money comes from a fee that goes on every gallon of jet fuel that is sold at the Denver airport, so just making you guys aware of that.
Great grant. No. All right, next up is the landfill.
Is Brian on board there, or no?
He was earlier.
He was. Okay. I'll go over the landfill amounts and everything by Brian Lockhart, our manager out there. And, I'll just go over a few highlights here. In the first quarter, it's broken down by car pickup, trucks, trash trucks, cubic yards, and all that. If you'd like to know the quantities, I believe that's not up there, okay. Cars 1,810, pickups 659, 27 trash trucks 202, and that total cubic yards was 4,816 cubic yards they contributed to the landfill. Then we get into bags. The bags itself were 2,837 bags of rubbish that went into the landfill. The fees that were paid for the first quarter were $61,929.40. There's extra fees attached of $1,657 even, with a total of $63,586.40. The cash received was that same figure, $63,586.40. Annually, that is currently, the total is $72,199.80, and the cash received was $72,199.80. And the commercial cubic yards that had totaled 3,677 cubic yards of material. Other than that, that is our landfill report. Any questions?
Kathy Griffin, not really a question, but I just want to acknowledge out loud that Sean, one of the landfill employees, came in to help out recycling a couple of weeks ago when we had a big problem with the compactor, and I happened to be there volunteering that day, and that man receives the award for the dirtiest job ever, but the teamwork, I was just blown away that one, Brian is a manager, he let all that happen. And he didn't have to do that. Sean didn't work for Sean didn't work for recycling. And all that was done, it was just outstanding at them working together. And the job that he did that day, nobody would want to do that job. So just kudos to both of them working together, and particularly Sean.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll add is that we're coming into wind season, and just remember that 30 miles an hour the dump pit will be closed, but they will be able to receive bags and trash at the building.
I just came by there, gates are closed.
It is,
It's been howling in here.
Bad city.
so just a reminder on that, that's all I have on that report.
Okay, up front next is the recycle we got.
So recycling, March of this year, 23 bales of all materials produced, 15 bales of cardboard, 5 bales produced of mixed paper, aluminum was 2 bales produced, and 1 bale produced of steel. Prices are pretty much all holding where they had been. Sales revenue for March is $1,467.50. We're continuing to go to Tractor Supply in Buena Vista. We get paid the complete transportation fee of that, and then we get to recycle that product and ship it out of here. And then thanks to all our volunteers that help, and that's mainly on Wednesdays, right?
Wednesday and Friday.
Wednesday and Friday, so thank you, volunteers.
Yeah.
Questions? Good thing we have volunteers, you know, the county has a, what is it, $7 million tax base and about 4 or 5 million in other things, and the rest of it's made up in volunteers. Okay, next up is OEM. And Robin's not here, but I'll mention a few things that are important. Since John's here, why don't you talk about the wildfire outreach, John, because you brought it up a minute ago, that you're working with Robin.
Yes. Yeah, our last meeting was Monday. We met with the U.S. Forest Service and the Colorado State Forest Service and got their input. I think in terms of the team, the two Forest Service are the key players in terms of giving us advice, giving us data, giving us boundaries and requirements for the community wildfire protection plan. I'm actually chair of the team right now that's putting that together as a highly informed amateur. And one more volunteer that.
Speaking of volunteers,
it's what it takes to make this county work, I think. But we're looking at fall to complete that and submit it to the Colorado State Forest Service for approval. I think at some point in the not too near future, we ought to be making a presentation to the BOCC, just showing where we think we're headed with this and where our major weaknesses are and where the work needs to be done.
right, good. Scroll down to the forecast. Just a couple things to mention coming up is continuation with that, of course. And then the radios are an issue, and I don't know if you've got any other data, but she took the report on everybody's needs. Do you know anything that's hanging out with?
No, there's a bunch of radios that will not be, they just aren't gonna be supported anymore.
We're getting 20 new ones for the road and bridge.
As of June 30th, 2025, so we had put in for a 2022 grant for kind of environmental air monitoring, and there was some additional requirements there that were happening because they weren't gonna be remote, they had to be set in place. So with radios kind of being a more forefront issue for us, with so many of our radios now going to be obsolete by June 30th, we changed some of that Department of Homeland Security grant money into being able to purchase 12 radios through that. So we've got some favorable reviews that's going to be approved, and we'll provide money for 8 radios. So It'll help us replace some of the radios that we're gonna have to take out of capital improvement to do. So the air monitoring, we're looking at Purple Air Monitors and their website to kind of monitor that, and that's what other counties use, and it seems to be working good, so we need to throw that into a different program and go after radios, since that's kind of our immediate need.
Yeah, and it's important for everybody to understand, hand radios, all hand radios will not work. You need some base radios in vehicles to act as a repeater station when you're fighting a fire, or you've got an emergency down in a valley somewhere, and you need to get a hold of a road grader, or somebody stuck off the hardscrabble somewhere else. You gotta have a base to repeat to on those emergencies, so those are a little more expensive. Other than that, that's nothing more on her report. Question? Okay, move on.
I'll take over Reggie's board issue on Custer County Extension. Let you know that we have successfully interviewed the applications for the 4-H coordinator. Emily Cunnington, how's she pronounce her name? I'm not sure. Cunnington was hired as a 4-H coordinator and the extension's admin assistant. Emily, I actually was set in on the interviews and got the question, and Emily grew up in Arapahoe County in a 4-H program, and she is, and Reggie's saying on here that she is drinking from the fire hose at this point because of being a little bit in a late start, getting into the 4-H program. They're ready for the fair coming up very quickly, and still full excitement. Every day she's more excited about coming in and helping and doing that job. And so registration is coming open for the state leadership conference. Registration is open, for our state leadership conference, which will be held at Fort Collins June 17th to the 19th. She wanted to thank everybody for us allowing the Eagle Scout, there's 3 of them, I believe, or 4, but there's 3, that they came in. They have Eagle Scout programs coming into play. They came in and did a presentation to the Board of Commissioners a couple of weeks, months, one about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the other one was about 2 weeks ago. The 3-day conference that they went to, that was both Emily and Reggie. She was welcomed by the 4-H coordinator family, and just told her that if she needed any help, don't be afraid to call while she's learning her job at high speed. The West Custer County Library this month will hold an Earth Day learning session about chemicals used in ranching and farming. May and June workshops are scheduled, so please look at their posting on that for follow-up. And just a reminder that the coffee hour this week program will continue through May, every Thursday morning at the high school, and feel free to attend. This report on shooting, we have a newly trained and certified leader for the shotgun discipline. I won't get into the full paragraph there. Our annual shooting sports safety meeting was a success, and the fair board this month's meeting produced many good ideas and suggestions for the upcoming improvements for our fair, and they're working hard on making this a very good recruiting opportunity also for the 4-H. And Mountain Region meeting, Emily and I will be attending the Mountain Region Conference May 12th to the 14th. And Custer County is part of the Mountain Region, is why they are going to attend that. The seed potatoes, super excited to announce that after 3 years of not having it, The CSUC potato program is back. Custer County residents could pick up bags of potatoes from the extension's office while supplies last. Other than that, Custer County 4-H has awarded $1,000 grant from, was awarded, excuse me, $1,000 grant from the WMVCF. And end of the report. Any questions? They're working very hard to get the fair up and running, and the 4-H program to get caught up. I think we're a couple of months behind on that, so they're very busy over there. So anyway, they'd like you to stop by and please introduce yourself to Emily and welcome her aboard if you're in the building.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Kids Council, you got it, Lucas?
So the Kids Council, that's largely Stacy Terrell, stays very involved in anything from public health. She also attends the regional opioid meeting that happens on, and that's 4 counties. Their public health departments, a commissioner sits on that from each county. But she stays very involved with all the organizations that are going on to take and help our children. She's also working with Barry Keene with the affordable workforce housing and has started attending those meetings and just really gotten involved in so many different things that we do. Participated in the family fun night at the school that was focused on raising kids in the digital age and protecting them from online trafficking. Educating parents on security settings and healthy alternatives to screen time. We're really trying to bring all the individual departments within Custer County, really bring them together and support each other and help each other instead of being so siloed. So I think she's very energetic in helping this community and their early childhood development. So that's all I got on that. Yes, Barry?
May I comment?
Yes.
I just want
Rick,
to support.
state your name, Barry.
Oh, Barry Keene. Thank you, Commissioner. She has become a real contributor to the Workforce Housing Committee and really helped me grasp how important workforce housing is for young families that she works with quite a bit. And has contributed some great ideas. And among other things, I think it's very possible that the development the county's working on up in Silver Cliff may include one unit that will be dedicated to childcare.
Yes.
And that was through her suggestion and also leading us to some information about that.
Very good. Thank you, Barry. Anybody else? Okay. And that concludes the reports. Sheriff online. Okay. All right, well, we've got a couple items for new business. There's any unfinished business? I don't have any.
No.
Bring up. Okay, these last 2 items are pretty straightforward. The sheriff was here earlier, and there's some people in here that didn't hear the rest of the report, but you can put it up on the bottom of the page there. Caitlin, do you have a copy of it? He had a proposal and just was, he briefed us in here earlier, brought to our attention to everybody that was here, but I'll restate it. He's just looking for an affirmation that, letting everybody know what's going on with what we've already agreed to and some ideas he's had in the meantime. So the important paragraph is the one down, the big one. I'll read it. The BOCC agreed to obtain 3 used pickups and then finance the purchase. The finance amount was just over $26,000 each year. The Sheriff's Office agreed to transfer 3 used 4-door Ram pickups to Road and Bridge with current estimated value of about $10,000. They verified that's roughly what the average was of the 3 vehicles. This transfer would fulfill 1 year's finance payment. The Sheriff's Office wants to sell its 2 highest mile Dodge Durango SUVs, which the Sheriff has determined to be a surplus property. The Sheriff estimates that the value of these vehicles to be around $20,000. This is not the Sheriff himself, they also got estimates on that. The city of Walsenburg recently split off from the Orfano County Sheriff's Office. and created a new police department, if you can imagine, from scratch. They offered to purchase the 2 Durangos for $26,000 in 26,000 including, I guess, what do you mean by that? Offer 26.
That period there.
Yeah, that period there.
Yeah.
They asked to take delivery immediately using a contract to be agreed upon by the city of Walsenburg and the Custer County. So he's mentioned that, I think you were here too, Dan, and hear that, you'll look at that contract. They asked to make one payment of $26,000 on December of 2025 and the final payment of $26,000 December of 2026. And so it's a good financial decision. I think it's a thing that we can give a nod to, I believe, unless you have any other things you want to straighten out on it.
Yeah, so all vehicles are owned by the BOCC.
Right.
Let's
Well,
clear that up. They're
Capital.
bought out of capital improvement funds. So really, in all actuality, that's where the money goes back to.
Right.
Because that's where the new vehicles were paid out of. I think this is a good thing because I think we've got to prepare for 27 and that big balloon payment that's coming out. And this is a way that we can get recycling a vehicle, Matt Carver a vehicle, and Road and Bridge a 4-door pickup, which we had already agreed to a couple months ago. So I think this is a good thing. I just wanted it to be aware that, yeah, so if those vehicles are 20,000, they're willing to pay 26,000. I guess they're paying for the financing of it because while we wait for the payment, we would be self-financing that vehicle.
Right.
And if he's got 2 Durangos that he doesn't need anymore, then yeah, I would say let's sell those while we have a
Well, the
buyer for
mileage
them.
is what they are on.
We are helping out another police department essentially do that.
Right. Paul? Okay.
No comment.
All right, so make a motion to do it.
I would say that the motion needs to be for Dan to write up a contract, or we need to approve that contract later on after they've agreed to it, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll make a motion that we sell, or that we have Dan Slater write up a contract for the sale of these 2 vehicles to the city of Walsenburg.
Contract following the proposed agreement. Go ahead.
Correct, and I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion? Other than we've got anybody out here? Jim, state your name again.
Jim Chaplin, sorry about that. I know the sheriff's department has been blessed in vehicles throughout the year and stuff here, and if we can afford to, I think we need to pass that blessing on to somebody else too and help them out.
That's good, thanks. Okay. Online, anything? All right, hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Vote on aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay. Next up, last up, Destination Management Organization proposal. All right, proposed.
On Deb.
Well, first off, it's National High Five Day. There you go, come on, there you
My
go.
grandson would like you.
High five. High five, all right, let's
I
hear
had to
about it.
let out some nervous energy too. Okay, so before I present this proposal, for the benefit of those who may not know, I just want to give a little background on tourism. So first off, I have served as tourism chair for over 6 years, and in that time, lodging tax revenue has increased by over 33%. Please note that tourism is funded by a 2% lodging tax paid for by visitors, so it is not local tax. I'm not going to go back 6 years, but some of the projects that have been done within the past 2 years, we developed another strategic plan for tourism. We are finishing up with a CTO management grant where we provided 3 new bulletin boards as well as interpretive signage for the Rainbow Trail. I'm working with, CTO is the Colorado Tourism Office. I'm working with Olivia on a destination development mentor program to try to increase off-season visitation. We just finished a CTO creative asset shoot, which was just so perfect for the day, where we covered the Silver West Airport, gravel riding, which is basically riding a bike on dirt roads, of which we have plenty of. And then we also focused on Main Street, Westcliff. We also established Valley Proud initiatives, which include working with the Silver West Airport to make it a fly-in destination and market it that way. Our agricultural collective initiative, which is gaining momentum, and then more focus on Main Street, because our Main Street is very unique, charming, and quaint. And I do thank the town of Westcliff for the work that they did in preparing for the shoot. We also reached out to another production crew who happens to live here in the Valley, Alignment, and they created assets for the agricultural collective. I also write and distribute press releases around the state, KLZ underwriting spots, and we are very much looking forward to a Colorado Public Radio campaign. What I discovered in a visit to Colorado Springs and talking to 12 people that worked at the hotel, out of the 12, and you're talking Colorado Springs, 90 minutes away from here, out of the dozen people, only 2 had ever heard of Westcliff. So our radio campaign is going to be more about awareness that you can escape just 90 minutes away from Colorado Springs. I also try to keep up to date the events calendar for our area. The events calendar, not only a spreadsheet, but also all events online. Then we post them on the state website. They're also posted on other media around the country, really. Also with marketing, keeping in mind that tourism is responsible for tourism marketing and promotion of the county. We have a strong social media presence on Facebook and Instagram. We have a half-page ad in the Colorado National Parks Journal this year. We have a half-page ad in the Colorado State Travel Guide. We have an ad campaign and articles in Colorado Life. We do work closely with Joe Studio, who is our graphic designer and social media person. And then we also work closely with Jeff Miller with Westcliff Web Design, who's doing a great job. I also manage the Welcome Center and volunteer ambassadors. And if anyone is listening and wants to be an ambassador, we are always looking for people to staff the Welcome Center for a 5-hour shift. Last year, we also did a fantastic production shoot showcasing the hiking available in the Sangres. I update website content on a regular basis. I was instrumental in the past and present booklet and the Wet Mountain Valley Guidebook in writing content and finding images. Something that I'm really proud of, silly as it is, there's a publication called the Colorado Farm Fresh Directory. And of course, we have a lot of farms and ranches here. We have never been in that directory. So I made it a point to reach out to ranches and farms, and I am delighted to say that we have 14 entries under Custer County. So it's the first time that Custer County has representation. So that's great. You may have also noticed that we have new Main Street banners that promote events and the things to do here. And they will be changed out in September, focusing more on community and maybe even put up some holiday flyers. Also, if anyone is interested, we are having a tourism forum on Friday, May 2nd here at 5:30, and that is an opportunity for people to see what we have done, how we're doing it, and where we go in the future. So I am here today You all got the proposal, and I'm going to admit that ChatGPT wrote the job description. They did a great job. I asked ChatGPT to give me a job description of a destination management organization director in a rural county, and I think they were pretty spot on. And the whole reason this kind of came about, gentlemen, is because I get the emails from Vernon and, who's AP? Kristen? Kristen. So there was a day when I got an email from Vernon and Kristen, and I looked at all the email addresses, and every single person on that email list is a paid employee. So I kind of felt left out. So that's why I am presenting this proposal, tourism. And Bill, I believe at the recent Liberty Rocks meeting, you mentioned tourism as the #2 priority, ranching #1. And so with that being said, and also when you look at the base industries, tourism is #2 on the chart. So tourism has grown enough. The responsibilities have grown, the budget has grown. I'm putting in hours every week. My husband's not on line to confirm that because he had to take a cat to an emergency vet meeting, but it's just time to look at tourism as a department of the county, more than just a board.
That's a good point. I'm not sure how the state looks at the money that we've got as whether it's a department or not, because they pigeonhole it, but we pigeonhole other departments too. So.
Well, so tourism budget right now, we pay an independent contractor for the website. We pay an independent contractor for the graphic design and social media. And so it's kind of paying an independent contractor to manage tourism.
Right.
Kind of like, I would say the airport might come the closest as far as that they have a board and they have a manager.
The other thing that came to mind too, you ought to educate the Colorado Springs people with a airplane and a banner saying visit Westcliff.
No, we're definitely going to be, so CTO,
Where's Westcliff?
CTO gives us data every 6 months, and the Front Range and Colorado Springs are definitely a very strong market. So and the reason we're going with radio, which we've never done before, is because listening to a word and planting it in your head, oh, Westcliff. So, we want to increase day trippers as well as overnighters.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in Pueblo that have never been up here. I mean,
An
they
hour
know about
away.
it, but
It's
they've
only
never been
a
up here.
half hour, 15 minutes to Pueblo, a half hour to Springs, and that airplane can make a round.
Oh.
And it's true, it's not a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
But a lot of times we're 15 to 20 degrees cooler than Pueblo is. And I've talked to some of these people that have come up here and they're like, oh man, this is nice up here. You can sit outside and enjoy the talking to people and whatever. And so, man, we've got a gem of a place here. We've always said that.
We do, and our ad campaign that is in all the publications that I mentioned is relax, adjust your attitude at our altitude. Or like Bob Fulton said, for altitude fitness, adjust, what did you say?
Go to altitude to work on the attitude.
Or not. Okay, this is a proposal. We would have to have a actual job description written up and understood, and then we can come back. I know you've got.
Is that too long?
We don't know, it's not.
No.
But, and then we'd have to figure out, is it part-time, full-time, it's part-time out at the airport right now.
Well, and I think part-time would
So we need to
suffice.
get a proposal with money and dollars and the job description worked up. So I would move that we move forward with that part of it so that we can look at what the formal director of whatever you want to call it is, whether it's that particular name or something else.
Probably need some sort of resolution to establish that it's a department level.
Right, we would need that too. Because there is no department, the airport, it was an authority originally, then we moved it back into a board.
Well, so
So
would
we
it be
do-
similar to the airport as far as
Well,
there's
that's-
still a board, but there's a manager?
That's what I'm saying, so we need to look at that, maybe it's a model, but we,
But I think there's a distinction, because I don't think that we treat the airport as the equivalent of a department. I
right,
don't know that we treat the tourism.
no, we
board
don't,
as
and that's
a-
why we need to, we would have to.
Yeah.
So,
So are you guys, you two willing to let me work with the tourism board and of course, Deb and I have already talked about this, that it would have to be competitively
sure,
put out there on the
Yeah.
open market for that position.
director,
Right.
So are you guys willing for,
Yeah.
let me work with Dan and the tourism board and Deb Adams?
The only thing I'd add in that fact finding and everything is that would the webpage designer and everything be under that person? So the monies that we're putting outsourced, would that be coming in?
it would be the same thing as the airport.
It's still gonna go
Nothing would
through
change,
the
really.
tourism board. It's just now that we have a paid part-time manager that's, the board still stays the same. The board still, and really in all
Still have a
actuality,
Board of Commissioners, probably in contact, and
Yeah.
just like we did.
the AP, our AP clerk has been taking all of our board's expenses and putting those in. So that is no longer part
county
of the
function.
treasurer thing anymore, because we wanted to reduce the $1,000 access to CIC fee per board.
Oh, right.
So, you know, we're trying to become more efficient and really centralize what we need to centralize.
Okay, so the motion would be to go ahead and proceed to develop the department for whatever we want to call
I don't even know that you need a motion at this point.
It's
Is there
just-
it's more of a
it's
consensus
fact
that?
Yeah, consent, you gotta come back with a,
I mean, Commissioner F has indicated, hey, what
I
I'm
don't
hearing
have a
from you
problem.
is this, and I'm not hearing any objection to what Commissioner F
yeah,
has suggested.
I'm
So
good.
I don't know that you need a motion as much as that's the consensus.
of the board.
When
Move
we start the
forward.
final.
I'll come up with
Back
a
with-
proposal and we'll bring a proposal back.
Good.
You know, whether it's a resolution and a contract or whatever. I'll handle it, okay?
Okay.
I'm good.
That it?
Good job.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
Get Brian, get the airplane, it's easy to do, get a banner going, it's a
Yeah.
1 hour flight. And make people know where Westcliff, I can't believe they don't know.
Yeah.
They see the mountains from Cheyenne.
Where's
Mountain.
West?
Here, come to.
Instead of where's Waldo, where's
Yeah.
Westcliff?
I think Bill should do
Yeah.
that. Bill should
Yeah.
put that on the side of his pickup,
Yeah.
right through Colorado Springs.
Okay, got a point back there?
Public comment? My name is Joe Yandrowski, and my wife and I own and operate the stage stop in town, and as well as Zita's Mountain Bistro in the summertime. I'd just like to, I'm here today in support of the tourism board and the work that Deb Adams has been doing. We stay open through the winter, 7 days a week, primarily in support of, local business. And it's not easy and it's not profitable. And so that means that it's important for us that we have a good summer tourist season. And I think that, I think that the work that Deb Adams has done is looking at the material, looking at the work it's done. It's very professional. It's very high class. And as a local businessman, I appreciate that.
Did you get his name, Peggy?
Joseph Yandrowski. And so.
You missed the roll call earlier.
Okay, I can spell that if you like.
Probably better.
But it is important that we, and I think I probably speak for most of the other merchants in town as well. Winters are tough, summers are important, and someday I think that, and someday I hope that, perhaps we even have a winter tourist season, I don't know.
We're working on it.
Yep.
Used to. Okay, the sheriff's back. If there's any questions, Rich, we did vote to go ahead and do what you proposed to do.
Thank you.
And then and come back and let us know, what else was there on that.
So all we said is Dan Slater to get a contract
Yeah,
written
get-
up that we can
Work
approve.
with
so-
Dan is,
Yeah, and I'll get in touch with you to get some more details on what I need, for what I'm writing.
okay, and, I don't have any other items of business, you?
So PILT Title III, really need to work, and get that programs, thank you, Deb. Get that program started, and going, and come up with a plan on that. And then I just wanna say to all our boards, Barry Keen's putting in a lot of hours for workforce housing. But we have a lot of volunteers that do a lot of things, and I just wanna say thank you to them. I also got a hold of Dan about closed workshops, open meetings, all that. I'm probably gonna have an agenda item next week to kind of talk a little bit about that. And then our staff meetings and how we want to do that, and the overlap that we're gonna kind of have with my UACOG meeting. So I want to bring that up, and talk about that a little bit publicly. So that's all I got.
Okay, and, I had one other thing on. Skipped my mind. Okay, that's all, do I have any other comments, open comments?
So, yeah, Bill,
Yeah, go ahead.
so the sludge problem has pretty much been resolved. At this point, it's gonna get hauled out,
Yeah.
so we don't have to put that on the tourism thing.
We don't have to do that. Yeah, if you're coming here to use our, septic tank, there'll be a $2 fee each.
Public
Pay to food.
And the public restaurant becomes pay as you go.
Well, thank you guys. And Lucas, I think you brought up too, we need to coordinate the two mayors and the three commissioners, because the people have entrusted you to kind of look out for them for things that drastically impact them. So that communication, whatever that's gonna take, I don't know if it's egos and agendas that keep that from happening. I've talked to
On the,
all you guys.
on the Round Mountain thing, you mean? Yeah.
Any
Or
issue, any
We,
issue.
we did talk about that earlier, about getting, what we call didn't want to call it a committee, but it was.
Well, I
related to other
believe
things.
those
Good idea.
elected officials personally, I'm just an idea person, there should be maybe 1 month or 1 day a month scheduled to maybe, if you're seeing an issue that's coming in the future, to at least give a public announcement, maybe get some public input or something of that nature. Or if the public comes to you and says, you know, we're gonna have a calamity here of some sort, everybody needs to work together. I don't know why that doesn't happen. And the other part to this is, how much of the county budget comes from the taxes of the two towns? Do we have that number?
I'd have to look into that and see what that is.
Yeah.
Sales tax.
Because you'd have a little bit of sales tax, you'd have some, property tax, so it'd be interesting to see.
So I believe it is quite a bit, and that's why the bookkeeping department is so important, is that we can see where those revenues are coming from and kind of be able to.
We did talk about it at the town hall meeting with
Yeah.
Winky the other night. And,
The other thing to add
We
to
don't have
that,
a lot.
that Lucas and I have been attending the mayor's roundtable. What towns?
well, I was gonna bring that up. The mayor's roundtable is where we go with the mayors of the area, the district. Fremont County primarily. We go to Coaldale, we go to Florence,
Rockville, Williamsburg.
Rockville,
Yeah.
Williamsburg. They call it a roundtable. The thing, the point is the same thing can happen here with a roundtable.
Correct.
Maybe every 2 months or something, but to look at things that are either on the side, on view or not.
And it's.
And we do
open,
meet with Buffalo.
and we discuss all kinds of things at that roundtable, the joint one that we go to. And, you know, they have the same problems we have, and we do share information.
Jimmy, I think you have a good idea. It's something I've been thinking about is all of our special task districts have become siloed. And during my campaign, I was told by a lot of people, do not get involved in any of the special tax districts, do not get involved in the towns.
Yeah.
Well, now we have this thing where it's a community problem, and because we didn't know, because we're not involved, we could have maybe helped sooner than later, and
Before it was
so-
just ad hoc, we go down the Round Mountain just because of things were happening, not like this, that was bad, but not enough.
Being reactive is one thing, being proactive is something else. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're not doing here, is being able to anticipate and say, hold it, okay, we're gonna have to allocate a couple bucks per person in the county. They still have a huge problem there. It's not even close to being resolved. All we did was just dodge a bullet here for a second.
We kept their time frame continuing.
We bought them a little
Kept
time,
watching
and that
that.
was important, but at the end of the day,
And
what are their challenges still? I mean, you guys are pretty intimate with what's going on
you
right now.
heard what we had to say about it. It's
That's
the start of
the
it.
now thing, but
No, I was talking about the bottom line. We know it's a project, it's still not done, and we don't know a full-scale thing's gonna work yet. Tell us that.
so I'm gonna go pull the paperwork and just see where their finances are. And try to look at it in a common sense thing and say, yeah, we're gonna have to address this.
Yeah.
Because if I ever get another call, we're shutting the towns down. I mean, that's about as ridiculous as you're gonna get. And then it's $2 million to haul this away.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the creek's already contaminated and hair's on fire.
Right.
That's
Well,
about as
we
ridiculous
couldn't
as it
agree
gets.
more, Jim, and we were all had the same thought,
Yeah.
100% behind. All right, I will adjourn the meeting today, right now, at 11:58. Thanks, everybody, for being here.